cell of Sanatan Dharam College welcome you all in one-day national seminar on gender-sensitive issues and women empowerment. This seminar is being held in collaboration with Directorate of Higher Education, Haryana. As psychologists and sociologists point out, gender, role, and expectations are assigned at birth. As soon as people put the label on child, girl, or boy, they begin treating the child in a stereotypical fashion. Gender sensitivity essentially refers to making women as well as men's concern and experiences an integral dimension of all policies and programs in an organization so that women and men benefit equally and inequality is not perpetuated. Ultimately, the goal is to achieve gender equality. With this thought, we had organized this seminar on this burning issue. Now, to start the seminar, I would like to call the finest diamond of the college, Dr. Rajendra Singh, Principal, Sanatan Dharam College, for welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you, Hina. Good morning, everyone. I, on behalf of Sanatan Dharam College, Ambala, Kent, would like to welcome the chief guest of today's function, Dr. Anju Manocha, Joint Director, Director General Higher Education, Haryana, and all the participants from the different part of the country in this one-day national seminar on gender-sensitive issues and women empowerment in collaboration with DGHE Haryana. Dear the Sanatan Dharam College, Lahore, Ambala, Kent is not only a unique education institution of the northern India, but it also holds a preeminent position in the glorious past of this country. In 1916, the institution was set up at Lahore under the dynamic influence of Bharat Ratna, Mahamana Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji, the backbone of the Sanatan Dharma. After the partition of the country, the college was re-established in Ambala, and the foundation stone of this college at Ambala, Kent was laid down by none other than the first president of independent India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad ji, on 3rd October 1951. Friends, I feel taking gender concern into account while designing and implementing various development programs is very important. The resource persons of today's seminar will put light on various issues concerning it and the remedy for it. I welcome all the resource persons of this webinar. Once again, on behalf of the Sanatan Dharam College, Ambala, Kent, I would extend my deep sense of gratitude to the chief guest of the inaugural session, Dr. Anju Manocha, Joint Director, DGHE, Haryana, and all the participants from the different part of the country. Jai Hind. Over to you, Hina.
Thank you so much, sir. So moving ahead, now I would like to invite Mr. Pankaj Kumar, convener of Gender Sensitization Cell, for presenting the theme of the seminar. Over to you, Pankaj, sir.
Thank you, Hina ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're clearly audible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Hina ma'am. And good morning, respected participants and our dear students. I, Pankaj Kumar from Department of English, on the behalf of Gender Sensitization Cell and Department of Commerce, University College, Ambala, Kent, welcome all of you in this one-day online national seminar on gender sensitive issues and women empowerment. Well, dear participants, in its endeavor to contribute meaningfully towards society, Gender Sensitization Cell and Department of Commerce, OSD College, Ambala Kent is organizing this seminar under the theme of gender sensitive issues and women empowerment. Well, as we all know that SD College is a premier institute which is always in pursuit of seeking innovative ideas and most relevant topics of the present day to sensitize the society towards the burning topics of the day. So the present seminar is another extension towards this endeavor. Dear participants, before I discuss the theme of the seminar in brief, let's think over the relevance of these talks, discourses, and seminars or webinars, what I will say, etc. Well, do we these seminars and discourses? Well, if our answer is yes, then why do we need these seminars, especially when we have all the laws which are capable of eradicating excuse me. Well, we have all the laws eradicating all sorts of discrimination between gender, and our parliament and laws are always in the right direction in empowering women. To this, we can say that our agencies can enforce laws upon society, but we must not forget that all the laws and laws enforcing agencies may not sensitize the society as they find times. It is there that the relevance of these seminars and workshops comes into foreground and occupy the center stage. It is through these seminars and discourses that we can sensitize the society, especially our younger generation. Dear participants and our students, when we are talking about women empowerment and gender sensitive issues, we find that these two terms are closely linked with gender equality. So the basic idea of this seminar is to bridge the gap between the genders. Okay, the discussion which will be discussed by our learned and eminent speakers will be beneficial to empower the women. One thing we should keep in mind that when we are discussing the empowerment of women, it doesn't mean that we are empowering
Pankaj sir, please unmute yourself.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
Okay. So we were discussing something about gender equality. When we are talking about gender equality, where both the genders have equal opportunities to live and sustain better lifestyle. Well, in this seminar, we'll try to discuss basic concepts of gender sensitization and women empowerment so that we can propagate gender equality in a better way. Well, through this seminar, we try to create a healthy environment between teachers and taught so that they can freely and frankly discuss the various challenges related to their respective gender. We believe that our students and participants are our ambassadors who, after this seminar, try to modify the behavior of society by creating awareness about the issues and concerns of gender. Dear participants, in this seminar, we try to discuss the various issues such as gender sensitization and media, as we firmly believe that the modern age of media and it is the most powerful weapon to counter an issue. So we'll discuss the role of media and technology in empowering women. We'll discuss girl-child education, as we are of strong conviction that it is only and only through education that we can sensitize the society. In this seminar, we'll also discuss another important issue which is less talked about, and that is women health and nutrition and women safety practices. We will discuss women empowerment through entrepreneurship development. We'll also discuss another social evil which still prevails in our society, that is female feticide, and how can we counter this blot. We'll also try to discuss the various welfare schemes that are related to women empowerment. Respected participants and my dear students, we are more than hopeful that all of you will be benefited through the lively discourse and interaction with our iconic resource persons. With these words, may I invite Madam Hina for further proceedings. Thank you very much. And Ma'am Hina, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for explaining the relevance of the seminar to our participants. Thank you so much. So we have amongst us our chief guest, Dr. Anju Manocha, Joint Director, Directorate of Higher Education, Haryana. She has underwent a lot of sharpenings that paved the way to be in a place where she is now. So now for the formal welcome of our chief guest, Dr. Anju Manocha, I would like to invite Dr. Sadbir Singh, Head of Department of Commerce, Sanatan Dharam College, Ambala, Kent. Over to you, Sadbir sir.
Okay, thank you, Hina ma'am. I hope I am audible. Am I audible clearly, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Very good morning to one and all present in this seminar. First of all, I, Dr. Satbir Singh, would like to welcome all of you in this national webinar on a very relevant theme. I'm feeling blessed or privileged as I got a chance to introduce the chief guest of this seminar. Today's chief guest, Madam Dr. Anju Manocha, Joint Director, Directorate Higher Education, Haryana. Ma'am has 30 plus years experience in the field of education and research, more than 15 national and international seminars and faculty development programs has been organized under the able guidance of Dr. Manocha. She has more than 100 research papers of national and international repute to her credit. Ma'am has contributed in 3 research projects on girl child and on various parameters of physical, psychological, and social development of children. When we talk about her academic contributions, ma'am has started MSc Human Development and Family Studies in Government College for Women, Panchkula, for session 2017-18 for the benefit of girl students in the state. She has been a resource person in more than 50 seminars and training programs. This list of the achievements of ma'am is too long. So without taking much time, I would like to thank ma'am for accepting our invitation. And I would like to call ma'am for sharing her valuable views on the topic Welcome, ma'am. Over to you, Anju, ma'am. Over to you, Anju, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are clearly audible, ma'am.
Respected Dr. Rajinder Singh Rana, Principal of SD College, Dr. Mohit, Convener of the seminar, other organizing committee members, dear faculty members of college, participants, and dear students. Good morning to all. First of all, I'm sorry, I apologize for keeping you all waiting for 15-20 minutes due to some emergency here. I would like to congratulate principal and organizers who have organized such a beautiful seminar on gender sensitive issues and women empowerment, which is close to not only my heart, but I feel is close to heart of every human being. We are very sensitive about leaving a good society for our next generations to come, in which we think of materialistic things. The water should be there, ecologically there should be greenery. But what I personally also feel, with this abstract society, which consists of our feelings, our emotions, our behavior with each other, is not much taken care of. But I think through such seminars, we would be able to sensitize both the genders on these issues, which I personally feel, if are not taken care of, the other developments, other technologies, the role of that development will also be minimized, will also be nullified if we don't take care of these things. If there is crime in the society, what will we do with the facilities? So this is the area which I also feel should be taken care of by the educational institutions now, time and again. One issue that has been touched is gender. What is gender? We are oftenly misunderstood. We oftenly misunderstand this. Normally, everybody is born either female or male, but they learn to be girls and boys, and then women and men. How do we learn? They are taught the appropriate behavior and attitudes, roles and activities are for them, and how they would relate to other people. By the society itself, this learned behavior is what makes up gender identity and determines gender roles. Gender it means learned roles and expectation on the basis of one's sex. It is a socio-cultural definition of a boy or girl, of a man or a woman. Not only their responsibilities are set by the society, but also the norms, values, even we say dress code, attitudes, opportunities, rights, mobility, whether the boy can go at night or a female cannot go late in the evening, freedom of expression. A male member is allowed to give his thoughts, but a female is suppressed. Priorities and even dreams. All these are determined not by the person, but by the society. It varies from society to society, and most important thing is this can be changed. And for changing that, probably I think there is more important role of male members instead of females. At the first stage, we have to educate our boys also to respect females, to respect girls, respect their attitude, respect their freedom also. We say this type of dress is to be worn by men only. If a girl wears that type of clothes, we say it is a tomboyish look. Similarly, there are many games which we initially also say a girl child can play with the dolls and a boy child will play with the mechanical games. So to understand how gender roles lead to gender division of labor, which starts in the childhood and comes forward in adult age also, कि बाहर के काम male members करेंगे, female घर के काम करेगी. That we teach the child right from the beginning. What the gender roles are, they are not only the roles, they are, I think, behaviors, attached responsibilities attributed to women and men that the culture defines as appropriate for men or women, not the person himself. Thus, gender roles include behaviors and choices that are associated with being male or female. Most important role is played by our culture. Our cultural beliefs, which are reinforced, are seen as acceptable behavior that makes a person a male or female. This includes what we do, what we like, how we behave, various socializing agents like parents, then comes the role of teachers, peers, our religious leaders, and media. What has been taken care in your objectives of the seminar also. Gender roles are reinforced at different levels of society, imbibing norms and values through socialization process. Household structure, access to resources. हम अपने यहाँ देखते हैं male members को there is more access to resources. Specific impacts of global economy and other locally relevant factors. Although these are deeply rooted, gender roles, but I feel can be changed over time since social values and norms are not static. They keep on changing. When our society started and not now where we have reached, there is a change, and that change only can bring the development. Gender stereotypes I think, are fed in our mind of every individual right from the young age, thus affecting the gender identity with which they identify themselves also. Means कि हम अपने आप को वैसा ही देखने लग जाते हैं जैसा हमें दिखाया जाता है. They arise in social situations. Children face a great deal of pressure to be popular, to conform to their peer group, acting out realistic social situations in a safe, controlled classroom environment. It is good to prepare students for such situations that might come up. It also helps children think about their own roles in both fighting and perpetuating gender stereotypes. They are common in even literature also. They are ideas that people have on masculinity and femininity, such as what men and women of all generations should be like and are capable of doing. Gender stereotypes are simple generalization about gender attributes, differences, roles, and individual or even group roles also. Then comes a very touching topic has been taken by you, education. What I feel कि girl education, you are rightly said, Dr. Pankaj rightly said, it is the only tool that can bring change, girl education. I had a research experience on girl child, as was just discussed right now. In that, we used to go to rural areas of Haryana and ask why parents are not sending the girl child to school for education. The main findings that came were two. One was कि there was discrimination कि लड़की को घर बैठा लो, अगर मदर वर्किंग है तो वो छोटे बहन भाइयों का ध्यान रख लेगी. सेकेंड, एक जो हमारा ईव टीजिंग वाला सोशल इशू है कि लड़की को बाहर भेजने में पेरेंट्स डरते थे कि रास्ते में उसकी सेफ्टी के कंसर्न से. थर्ड वाज देयर वर नॉट स्कूल्स इन द विलेज. सपोज अगर प्राइमरी स्कूल है तो उसके बाद की एजुकेशन के लिए लड़कियों को नहीं भेजते थे कि दूर के स्कूल में जाना पड़ेगा. नाउ इट्स अ गुड थिंग गवर्नमेंट हैज बीन सेंसिटाइज्ड और हमारे हर गांव में स्कूल है. सेकेंडली, अगर हम हायर एजुकेशन की बात करते हैं तो कॉलेज तक आने के लिए भी अब फ्री ट्रांसपोर्टेशन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ बसेस प्रोवाइड कर दी गई है. इट इज थ्रू जो हमारा एजुकेशन वाला पार्ट था इससे कवर हो जाएगा. तो एक पेरेंट्स जब बिना चिंता के लड़कियों को बाहर भेज पाएंगे पढ़ने के लिए तो दे विल बी एम्पावर्ड. जो आपका दूसरा पार्ट है हमारे सेमिनार का, विमेन एम्पावरमेंट, तो विमेन एम्पावरमेंट का मेन टूल एजुकेशन है. उसके बाद हमने बात की जैसे एक ऑब्जेक्टिव है डिसीजन मेकिंग के ऊपर रिलेटेड. हमारे कुछ इश्यूज होते हैं जो हमारा ये सारा सेमिनार है, दिस इज रिलेटेड टू प्रोबेबली आई थिंक व्हाट आवर एटीट्यूड इज टुवर्ड्स फीमेल्स. इट इज नॉट कि कोई मशीन है, कोई मैकेनिकल या इलेक्ट्रॉनिक बटन है जिसको प्रेस करेंगे और वो उस तरह से काम करने लग जाएगी। ये हमारी डीप रूटेड थॉट्स हैं जिसको हमें चेंज करना होगा यूजिंग मीडिया, using such seminars, using workshops for the students, both genders. The attitude of men is to be also to be changed towards women. अब हम लोग बात करते हैं फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी की। अगर वर्किंग है विमेन, वी आर अर्निंग बट वी डोंट हैव फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी, एक ये आ जाता है जहां पे हम सोचते हैं दिस इज द डोमेन ऑफ मेल मेंबर्स। तो कहीं ना कहीं इसमें हमारा एज अ फीमेल भी रोल आता है। वी हैव टू बी अवेयर, वी हैव, इफ वी हैव एनी राइट, वी हैव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आल्सो। वी मस्ट लर्न टू बी फाइनेंशियली लिटरेट आल्सो। Then another topic that has been touched is female health and nutrition. Over the period, it has been found कि females के लिए पहले तो क्या था कि हमारा सोशल सिस्टम ये था कि हम मेल मेंबर की न्यूट्रिशन पे ज्यादा ध्यान देते थे, हेल्थ पे। हमारी जो अगर हम देखें पिछली जनरेशन, और फीमेल्स की या गर्ल चाइल्ड की हेल्थ और न्यूट्रिशन पे कम ध्यान दिया जाता था। पर हमारी जो एक रिसर्च थी जिसमें हमने फिजिकल डेवलपमेंट पे काम किया था, तो ये देखा था कि नेचर ने फीमेल्स को फिजिकली स्ट्रॉन्गर बनाया था एट बर्थ। उसके बाद हमारी सोशल सिस्टम में हम बॉयज की डाइट पे ज्यादा ध्यान देते थे गर्ल्स की बजाय। देयर वर जॉइंट फैमिलीज, there were n number of issues की एजुकेशन नहीं थी, रिसोर्सेज पे एक्सेस नहीं थी, अवेलेबिलिटी कम थी। बट अब जब सब कुछ अवेलेबल है इन अप्रोप्रिएट बैलेंस फॉर्म, स्टिल फीमेल्स आर नॉट मच कंसर्न अबाउट देयर ओन डाइट। अगर मैं ही हूं, मैं अपने घर में हूं और कोई भी नहीं है, तो सबसे पहले फीमेल क्या करेगी? बच्चों के खाने का, अपने अगर पेरेंट्स रहते हैं साथ उनका, हस्बैंड का, और जो बच जाएगा कम है तो भी खुद के लिए, ज्यादा है तो भी खुद के लिए। देयर इज नोबडी एल्स हु इज स्टॉपिंग यू, वी आवरसेल्व्स आर स्टॉपिंग अस। तो ये माइंडसेट, ये एटीट्यूड हमें अपना भी बदलना है इस चीज के लिए कि हेल्थ ऑफ द फीमेल इज व्हाट आई फील इज प्रोबेबली मोर इम्पोर्टेंट, because she is the pillar of the family. She has to take care of the needs of other family members. It is very painful. जब मैं कॉलेज में टीचिंग करती थी तो बहुत सारे लड़कियां, रोज उनको चक्कर आता था सुबह क्लास में। क्यों चक्कर आता था? उनसे पूछते, एक जो हमारी फिजियोलॉजिकली एक रूटीन का मंथली पीरियड्स का जो एक पीरियड होता है, दे कुड नॉट सस्टेन दोस 3-4 days, और उनको क्लास में चक्कर आता था एंड दे वर टू बी गिवन मेडिसिन। पूछते थे कि क्या मेडिसिन देने से पहले कि क्या तुमने कुछ खाया हुआ है? 80% ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स सेड नहीं, हमने कुछ भी नहीं खाया। ब्रेकफास्ट इज बीइंग मिस्ड बाय गर्ल स्टूडेंट्स। व्हाई? उससे नेक्स्ट जनरेशन ने बर्थ लेना है, अगर उसकी फाउंडेशन ही ऐसी है कि जिसमें वो खुद ही नहीं अपने आप को सस्टेन कर पा रही है, तो व्हाट वी फील कि हमारी आने वाली जनरेशंस की हेल्थ क्या होगी। तो इसलिए एज अ पेरेंट, as an adult, as a teacher, what I feel, we must take rather more care of our daughters, our females, because they are the carriers of next generation also. We have to sensitize ourselves. This is a very sensitive issue. We must take care. बाद में जाके adolescent age में उसकी health का ध्यान रखने से कि iron की कमी है। हमारे यहाँ फीमेल्स हरियाणा में भी, विच इज द फूड बास्केट ऑफ कंट्री, दूध भी इतना है, सब कुछ है, उसके बावजूद हमारी मोर देन 50% ऑफ द गर्ल स्टूडेंट्स एंड वीमेन आर एनीमिक। And what we think, will they be providing a very good generation, next generation, healthy generation? How is it possible? जब हम मकान की फाउंडेशन पे इतना ध्यान देते हैं, तो एक जो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन की फाउंडेशन है उस बिल्कुल भी ध्यान नहीं देते हैं। What I feel कि हमें गर्ल चाइल्ड का इनिशियल ईयर से ही उसकी हेल्थ का ध्यान रखना चाहिए, ताकि एडोलेसेंट एज में जाके हमें बहुत सारे वो इश्यूज ना फेस करने पड़े जो हम आज फेस कर रहे हैं। उसके बाद अगर फीमेल वर्किंग है तो उसको सपोर्ट सिस्टम प्रोवाइड करना, उसकी जो एक अनपेड केयर वर्क है उसकी भी अहमियत देना। प्रोडक्टिव वर्क इज ओके, दैट इज बीइंग concern that is being thought कि मेल मेंबर्स ही करते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है. जो फीमेल का वर्किंग के साथ प्रोडक्टिव होने के साथ साथ जो अनपेड केयर वर्क है उसकी तरफ भी ध्यान दें और उसको उसके लिए सपोर्ट सिस्टम फैमिली प्रोवाइड करे. Next issue is in our society it is considered to be a patriarchal society, जहाँ पे हम मेल मेंबर्स को वॉइस को सुपीरियर और मोर पावरफुल देन वीमेन और गर्ल्स मानते हैं. और ये किसने क्रिएट किया है? थ्रू आवर सोसाइटी, फैमिली, कम्युनिटी, कल्चर एंड इकोनॉमी. दे आर द हेड्स ऑफ हाउस होल्ड. बट बच्चे आजकल बहुत अच्छा स्लोगन लिखते हैं, इफ फादर इज द हेड ऑफ द फैमिली, मदर इज द हार्ट ऑफ द फैमिली. हार्ट का भी उतना ही ध्यान, मेरे को लगता है हार्ट का ज्यादा ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा अगर हेड को सस्टेन करना है. तो पैट्रियार्की एक सोशल कंस्ट्रक्शन है जिसमें कि बहुत सारी हमारी वैल्यूज, इम्प्लीकेशंस बेस्ड, और वो बेस्ड किस पे? जस्ट ऑन द बायोलॉजिकल डिफरेंस बिटवीन मेन एंड वीमेन, व्हिच इज द रिजल्ट ऑफ आवर कल्चर. मैस्कुलिनिटी, इसको भी हम पूरा वो करते हैं कि अगर कुछ बिहेवियर्स हैं वो अटैच कर दिए हैं कि मेन वाले हैं वो मैस्कुलिन है, फेमिनिन है, तो वो उससे भी हमें बाहर आना पड़ेगा. और जो एक और आपने टॉपिक टच किया है कि सेफ्टी इश्यूज, यस, वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड अ सोसाइटी वेयर आवर फीमेल्स आर सेफ, दे फील सेफ टू गो. अभी भी क्या है कि बहुत कुछ हमारी स्टेट्स हैं जहां हम सोचते हैं कि फीमेल आर सेफ, तो वी आर ओके इन सेंडिंग आवर डॉटर्स टू फॉर फर्दर स्टडी टू दो स्टेट्स. तो ये हम सबकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि हम अपनी स्टेट को भी ऐसा ही सेफ बनाएं अपनी डॉटर्स के लिए, अपनी गर्ल्स के लिए. We should focus on gender equality. It doesn't mean that men and women both they become same. It means what I feel कि their access to resources is and opportunities is same to both the genders, men as well as women. Madam Kamala Bhasin, who was a feminist who died last year, उनका हमने जो हमारा एक हायर एजुकेशन का इनिशिएटिव है उड़ान, जो हर थर्सडे को हम 12 to 1 क्रिएट करते हैं थ्रू फेसबुक लाइव यूएन वीमेन के साथ. उन्होंने हमें बहुत अच्छा सेशन दिया था यहाँ पे, हमने उड़ान में उनका करवाया था ऑन फेमिनिस्ट इश्यूज. एज अ रिस्पेक्ट टू हर व्हेन शी डाइड, तो हमने उसको रिप्ले भी किया था. उनकी एक बात जो मुझे अभी तक हमेशा याद रहती है, उन्होंने कहा था लड़की की जगह दिल में भी और विल में भी. मीन्स कि हमारे लॉज में भी विल में उस डॉटर्स के लिए मस्ट करके पेरेंट्स की प्रॉपर्टी में हिस्सा उसको एक एम्पावर किया है. तो हम वो एम्पावरमेंट, उसकी फाइनेंशियल एम्पावरमेंट किया, उसको इंडिपेंडेंट होते हुए देखने के लिए की थी. तो एज अ पेरेंट्स अगर हम कर सकते हैं, तो एज अ इन-लॉज फैमिली या एज अ हस्बैंड भी हर मेल मेंबर को, अपनी वाइफ को, अपनी फीमेल को एम्पावर करने के लिए उसको सपोर्ट करना चाहिए. तो नॉट ओनली इन फाइनेंशियल टर्म्स बट इन अदर डिसीजन मेकिंग ऑफ द फैमिली ऑल्सो. तो इन द लास्ट, नॉट टेकिंग मच ऑफ द टाइम, जैसे मैंने देखा बहुत अच्छे टॉपिक्स भी और बहुत अच्छे स्पीकर्स आपके पास आए हुए हैं, तो आई वुड लाइक टू से कि जिस इशू को लेके हमारा सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स में भी जगह बना चुके हैं, वहां भी सेंसिटिव है, हमारे एसडीजीज में भी इंक्लूड हो चुका है ये टॉपिक. तो हमें इस तरह से अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करके इस चेंज को लाने में सबको, ईच एंड एवरीबडी ऑफ अस हैज टू प्ले द रोल as a parent, as a teacher, and as a human being also. Thank you so much, and thanks for making me part of this beautiful seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate the time you gave us. It is indeed a matter of great honor for us to have you here as the chief guest. Thank you so much. Now, may I invite Dr. Deepak Kumar, Assistant Professor, Sanatan Dharam College, Ambala, Kent, to propose a formal vote of thanks to our chief guest. Over to you, Deepak sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, one and all. On the behalf of Department of Commerce and Management and Gender Sensitization Cell of Sanatan Dharam College, Ambala, Kent, I, Dr. Deepak Kumar Manocha, express my heartfelt thanks to the worthy chief guest, Professor Dr. Anju Manocha, Joint Director, Directorate Higher Education Haryana, for sparing her valuable time for this virtual seminar. Thank you, ma'am, for you have been enlightened us with your guidance and moral support. Thank you, ma'am, for inspiring and encouraging us with your thought-provoking and interesting address on the special day. Ma'am, you have covered a large list of gender-sensitive issues like gender roles, financial literacy, girls' health, gender equality, etc. Ma'am, you have covered that girls' education can play a very important role in the women empowerment. Ma'am, you explain each and every aspect in a very effective manner. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us. Thank you so much. And, over to you, Hina, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. So now it's time to start our first technical session. In the first technical session, we have amongst us Dr. Vandana, Research Officer, Women's Studies, Research Center, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. To introduce such a distinguished personality, I would like to invite Ms. Chavi Kiran, Assistant Professor, Sanatan Dharam College, Ambala, Kent. Over to you, Chavi ma'am.
Thank you so much, Hina ma'am. Am I clearly audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are clearly audible.
Thank you so much. A very warm good morning to everyone. And it is actually a matter of honor for me to introduce our honorable resource person for our first technical session today. Dr. Vandana Dave is Research Officer at Women's Study Research Center at Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. She holds MPhil and PhD degrees and has completed about 20 research projects in the field of women's studies. She has written 2 books on women in Haryana and published a number of research papers in different journals. She has coordinated more than 500 training programs on gender sensitization for various target groups such as school teachers, police personnel, health functionaries, panchayat members, Sakshar Mahila Samuh, Mahila Mandal Pradhans, and many more. She has also been preparing training manuals for gender sensitization programs and written modules on the subject of women's studies under the UGC scheme of EPG Pathshala. Certainly, an academic event is incomplete without the presence of a learned academician, and we are really honored to have such a luminary amongst us today. Now, may I please request and invite Vandana ma'am to share her words of wisdom with our worthy participants. Over to you, Vandana ma'am.
Thank you so much for your nice words and introducing me. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, Vandana ma'am, you're not audible now.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, now you're audible.
Okay, thank you so much. Respected principal ma'am, principal sir, SD College, Ambala, Kent. Most respected chief guest of the inaugural session, Madam Manju. All the members of the organizing committee of this national webinar, dear participants and students. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for giving me an opportunity to interact with the students and the participants for such a sensitive issue for which the whole world is trying to bring change and bring women into the mainstream. As Manju ma'am said, that a number of topics and number of gender sensitive issues are to be covered in this webinar. I would like to touch upon gender sensitization, the meaning, the requirement of understanding gender sensitization, and the term itself, what is gender and what is sex, the difference between sex and gender, so that we are able to understand gender disparities, gender inequalities prevalent in our society, and we can try to bring more women into the mainstream. So, what is gender sensitization? Gender sensitization is an ability to recognize gender issues. When we are saying there are a number of gender issues like crime, health issues, sex ratio. So if we are gender sensitive, then we will have the ability to recognize these issues as some issues towards which we have to do some efforts. Gender sensitization means to understand gender relations. Gender relations are the relationship between men and women, how men and women behave towards each other, how they interact, who is most respected, who is at the bottom of the hierarchy. So we need to understand the gender relations in our society. Then gender sensitization means to understand contribution of men and women to the development. It is not only the men who are contributing towards the nation building or towards the building of society or family, but it is also the women who is contributing towards a lot at the backstage. वो फैमिली बनाती है, बच्चों को परवरिश करती है, तो she is also contributing. Then to understand socio-cultural factors underlying discrimination. When we talk about gender discrimination, so we must also know the cultural and social factors which are behind this discrimination, because without the understanding of these cultural factors, we are unable to bring gender equality. Gender sensitization also means to understand behavior, opportunities, and constraints that affect both men as well as women. So first of all, I would like to differentiate between the terms sex and gender, as Manju ma'am also touched it. So sex is a biological definition of a person. Sex identifies the biological difference between men and women. Sex identity is determined by reference to genetic and anatomical characteristics. It is largely unchangeable. It is constant. On the other hand, gender is culturally and socially constructed roles ascribed to males and females. Gender identifies the social relations between men and women. It is an acquired identity. It refers to all the differences except those that are strictly biological. Only when a child takes birth in our family, we can identify him or her on the basis of the biological organs, that he is male and she is a female. But after the birth, their gender starts to develop, and we develop our childs into different identities, feminine identities and masculine identities. So since gender is cultural and social, it can be changed as culture itself is dynamic. So on the whole, we can say that sex is a constant phenomena. On the other hand, gender is changeable and it varies, it changes as the society changes. So how we learn this gender? As we already know that this gender is learned within the family, within the society. So there is a process, there is a phase or a systematic stages of understanding gender or learning gender. The process is called as gender socialization or the process of gendering. The first phase of understanding gender or learning gender is the manipulation. Manipulation means how we treat a child, how we handle a child. in our family when we are treating with the child, like हम जब लड़कियों को और लड़कों को ड्रेस अप करते हैं तो लड़कियों को फ्रॉक पहनाते हैं, लड़कों को पैंट शर्ट पहनाते हैं, हेयर स्टाइल अलग अलग होता है, लड़कों का हेयर स्टाइल अलग होता है, लड़कियों का हेयर स्टाइल अलग होता है, उनकी एक्सेसरीज अलग होती हैं. तो हाउ वी आर ट्रीटिंग द चाइल्ड, it shapes their identity, it shapes their self-esteem, it shapes their self-confidence. So this process is called manipulation or treating the child in a different manner. Then comes the process of canalization. Canalization means directing the energies of male and female children towards different objects. Like males are given different kinds of toys to play, and girls are given different types of toys. Girls are given in South Asian countries or everywhere where in the world kitchen set, dolls, Barbies, like this. And boys are given toys like cars, tractors, bat ball, which they have to play outdoors. So this process is directing their attention towards certain things, means what is their future role. A woman's future role is to become a mother, to become a wife, and to become a housewife. And male's future role is to become the breadwinner for the family, to become the protector of the family. So the children are taught in a different way with the help of certain objects. Then how we communicate, verbally, how we communicate with our children is also very, very important to inculcate gender, different genders. अगर लड़की को हम अप्रिशिएट करना होता है तो वी अप्रिशिएट उसके लुक्स के लिए, उसके हेयर स्टाइल के लिए, हाउ प्रिटी शी इज लुकिंग, इस तरह के हम बच्चियों को कमेंट्स देते हैं. लेकिन जब हम लड़कों को अप्रिशिएट करते हैं तो लड़कों से कहते हैं कि ये तो शेर पुत्र है, हाउ बिग ही इज लुकिंग, हाउ स्ट्रॉन्ग ही इज लुकिंग. तो इस तरह के जब हम उनको अप्रिसिएशन करते हैं, उनके साथ कम्युनिकेशन करते हैं, तो वो इसी तरह के जेंडर आइडेंटिटी को डेवलप कर लेते हैं. तो दिस काइंड ऑफ वर्बल एप्लेशंस shape their gender identity. Then the next phase is activity exposure. What kind of activities are being exposed to men and women or to the boys and girls in our society? Girls are exposed to the domestic activities and boys are exposed to outdoor activities. Like mother calls always the female child of the family to help her, and father will call his male child to help him. Like कोई भी अगर भारी काम है, कुछ उठाना है, कुछ रखना है, ऊपर चढ़ाना है, तो उसके लिए वो अपने मेल चाइल्ड को आवाज़ दी जाती है. और घर में कोई गेस्ट आया है, खाने का काम करना है, घर की साफ सफाई करनी है, तो जो फीमेल्स हैं दे विल कॉल द गर्ल्स. तो इस तरह से हम अपने बच्चों को पालते हैं विद अ डिमार्केशन ऑफ देयर रोल्स, देयर expectations. So it creates a sex gender system within the family. अब हमको क्या लगता है, a lot of cultures tend to see gender as a natural phenomenon deriving from biological differences between men and women. हमको ये लगता है कि चूंकि हम बायोलॉजिकली डिफरेंट हैं इसीलिए हम ये काम करेंगे और under masculine across cultures or geographic locations. The basic element in any contemporary sex gender system across culture and geographic location is the difference in gender roles that lead to sexual division of labor. तो इस तरह से एक डिवीजन क्रिएट होता है बिटवीन आवर लेबर, आवर रिस्ट्रिक्शंस, कि हमारा जो कन्फाइनमेंट है वो विमेन का कन्फाइनमेंट क्या होगा, द डोमेस्टिक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज, और मेल का जो होगा वो बाहर का काम होगा। जबकि हमको ये नेचुरल लगता है, बट इट इज नॉट नेचुरल, ओनली सेक्स इज नॉट नेचुरल, दिस इज जेंडर which is an ascribed thing, which is a learned thing. We learn it from our families, from our societies. So what are gender roles? Everyone knows gender roles, sex roles. I think all the participants must be having the knowledge or awareness about the gender roles. Gender roles and sex roles, if we look at these two roles, so sex role refers to an occupation or biological function only, for which a necessary qualification is to belong to one particular sex category. आज हम जितना भी जेंडर डिस्पैरिटी देख रहे हैं वो किस वजह से है? वो इसीलिए बिकॉज वी हैव मिक्स्ड अप द सेक्स रोल एंड द जेंडर रोल, दे बिकम सिनोनिमस। हमें लगता है कि ये दोनों एक ही है। तो if we are talking about sex role, then pregnancy is a female sex role because only members of the female sex can bear children. But what are the gender roles? Gender roles are learned behaviors in a given society or community or other special group that condition us to perceive certain activities, tasks, and responsibilities as male or female. In most present-day societies, this sexual division of labor is rooted in what is technically known as production and reproduction distinction. हमने ये जो हमारा जेंडर रोल्स हैं उसके आधार पर एक जो डिस्टिंक्शन बनाया है, प्रोडक्शन एंड रिप्रोडक्शन। अब रिप्रोडक्शन क्या है? रिप्रोडक्शन इज अ बायोलॉजिकल रिप्रोडक्शन, बट the tasks usually associated with it, such as child rearing, housekeeping, all that are necessary for the survival, these are given no economic value. This is usually the women's world and often known simply as the private sphere. Even when women work outside the home, their jobs are frequently a replication of their tasks इन द प्राइवेट स्फेयर। हम कहते हैं कि लड़कियों के लिए बेस्ट सुटेबल बेस्ट कन्वीनियंट जॉब क्या है? टू बिकम अ टीचर। तो टीचर क्या है? टीचर उसी चीज को हमने बाहर किया जो कि हम घर में करते हैं, नर्चरिंग करना, बच्चों को सिखाना, केयर करना। सो इट इज ओनली अ रेप्लिकेशन। सो हाउएवर आइडेंटिकल वर्क इन द प्राइवेट स्फेयर इज नॉट गिवन एनी इकोनॉमिक वैल्यू। अगर एक महिला घर के बाहर जाके, या पुरुष भी टीचिंग करते हैं, केयरिंग करते हैं, लेकिन दैट वर्क इज डन इन द पब्लिक स्फेयर, सो इट इज मोस्टली कनेक्टेड विद द monetary gain. But a woman who is doing the same work within the boundaries of the household, they are not getting any economic gain. इसीलिए this work is considered as worthless, regarded as the बेगारी। सो ये जो हमारा प्रोडक्शन और रिप्रोडक्शन के बीच की जो ये डिस्टेंस है, इसी ने ही सारे बैरियर्स क्रिएट किए हैं फॉर द एडवांसमेंट ऑफ वीमेन, फॉर द एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ वीमेन। और जो भी डिस्पैरिटीज हैं वो इसी से क्रिएट होती हैं, क्योंकि हमने प्रोडक्शन और रिप्रोडक्शन को सिनोनिमस मान लिया है। वेयरएज रिप्रोडक्शन इज टोटली बायोलॉजिकल, चाइल्ड बेयर करना और उसको बर्थ देना इज ओनली बायोलॉजिकल। लेकिन अगर एक वीमेन चाहती है कि वो आगे बढ़ के कुछ करे, तो वो जो एसोसिएटेड टास्क है रिप्रोडक्शन से एसोसिएटेड, दैट कैन बी डिवाइडेड अमंग अदर मेंबर्स ऑफ द फैमिली ऑल्सो। तभी इस तरह की जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी दूर होगी। लेकिन वो होती क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि देयर आर सर्टेन स्टीरियोटाइप्स, जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप्स ऑल्सो associated with this production and reproduction. Gender stereotypes are overgeneralized beliefs in the characteristics of a person based simply on their gender. It is rigidly held and oversimplified belief that all males and females possess distinct psychological and behavioral traits. हमको सबको पता है, हम ऐसे ही बोलते हैं कि फीमेल क्या हो कैसी होती हैं, फीमेल आर डिपेंडेंट, दे कैन बी इजीली इन्फ्लुएंस्ड, ये हमारे स्टीरियोटाइप्स हैं. फीमेल्स आर सबमिसिव, फीमेल्स आर कैन इजीली हर्ट, दे आर इमोशनल, दे आर जेंटल, दे आर जेलस, दे आर टॉकेटिव, दे आर टैक्टफुल, दे आर नर्चरिंग. तो ये हमारे जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप्स हैं जिनको कि हमने उसके फीमेल जेंडर के साथ एसोसिएटेड किया हुआ है. जबकि जो मैस्कुलिन जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप्स हैं वो क्या है? Being aggressive, males are aggressive, they are independent, they are more rational, logical, they are worldly, they are dominant, they are analytical, competitive. तो ये सारे जो जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप्स हैं ये ही हमारे बिहेवियर को तय करने लगते हैं, हमारे रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज को आगे तय करने लगते हैं. एक और चीज़ जो कि जेंडर रोल के लिए बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है या जेंडर डिफरेंसेस के लिए बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है, इट इज़ जेंडर आइडियोलॉजी. जेंडर आइडियोलॉजी मीन्स कि व्हाट इज एक्सपेक्टेड ऑफ अस. आवर सोसाइटी what is expecting out of male and out of female. The expectations are different. Then what is allowed of us? Gender, as per our gender ideology is determined by our society, by our culture. And the sanctions, the allowances are as per the norms of the society. Women are allowed freedom or not, men will be allowed freedom or not, women will be allowed put on any restrictions, उनको किस तरह की एजुकेशन मिलेगी, उनको क्या क्या चीज़ें सैंक्शन की जाएंगी, उनको क्या फैसिलिटीज़ मिलेंगी, क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिलेंगी. तो एवरीथिंग इज एज पर द जेंडर आइडियोलॉजी ऑफ दैट सोसाइटी. And the third thing which is associated with the gender ideology is what is valued in us. The values of men and women in the society are also different. So these three things create gender ideology: what is expected of us, what is allowed of us, and what is valued in us. The most common basis of gender ideology is biological determinism. Gender ideology is also determined by the biology कि women चूंकि child bear करती है इसलिए उससे क्या expect किया जाएगा कि she would be a good mother. क्या अलाउ किया जाएगा कि वो कैसे बाहर जाएगी छोटे बच्चों को छोड़ करके, उसको घर पे ही रहना पड़ेगा. और उसकी वैल्यू क्या होगी? तो मदरहुड इज ग्लोरिफाइड. और उसके जो अदर टास्क हैं उसके लिए उसको कई बार क्रिटिसिज्म झेलना पड़ता है कि उसको इस चीज़ की, डोमेस्टिक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ की कोई कदर नहीं है. तो this biological differences between men and women automatically translate into differences in their social roles. अब हम बात करते हैं कि चलो ठीक है, विमेन अगर घर में रहती हैं तो उसमें कोई बुराई नहीं है. मैन अगर घर के बाहर जाकर काम करते हैं, दे आर fulfilling their gender roles appropriately, women are fulfilling their gender roles appropriately. तो what is the problem? But there is definitely some problem. Problem कहाँ है कि gender has implications for equality between men and women. जब हम equality की बात करते हैं तो ये जो gender है यही सारे barriers को create करता है. हमने क्या सीखा, मतलब बायोलॉजी तो हम अलग छोड़ दें, लेकिन उसके अलावा, बायोलॉजी के अलावा जो ये जेंडर है, दिस जेंडर लिमिट्स द पोटेंशियल्स ऑफ बोथ मेन एंड वीमेन. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ औरतों को ही परेशानी होती है, इस जेंडर की वजह से बहुत सारे मेल भी सफ़र करते हैं. दिस लिमिट्स potentials, then making them both victims. Like बॉयज़ एंड मैन, हम उनको कॉमनली कहते हैं कि बॉयज़ डोंट क्राई, उनको बहुत हार्ड हार्टेड होना चाहिए. इससे क्या होता है? दिस रिजल्ट्स इन एन एक्सपेक्टेशन दैट मैन शुड कीप देयर इमोशंस टू देमसेल्व्स. क्या उनके टीयर ग्लैंड्स नहीं होती हैं टीयर ग्लैंड्स, बट दे आर टॉट टू कीप देयर इमोशंस टू देमसेल्व्स, डू नॉट शो टू एनीबडी. और मॉडर्न जो साइकोलॉजी है, जो रिसर्चेज हो रही हैं, ये कहती हैं कि देयर आर सर्टेन इंस्टांसेस जहाँ पर men can have some psychological or physiological problems due to not manifesting of their emotions. तो इसके अलावा अगर हम मेन के ऊपर तो भी है इम्प्लीकेशंस, अगर हम विमेन के ऊपर इसके इम्प्लीकेशंस देखते हैं कि जेंडर की वजह से क्या है, तो विमेन आर परसीव्ड टू बी वीकर सेक्स एंड मोर इमोशनल देन मैन। हमेशा की महिलाएं कमज़ोर हैं, वो बहुत इमोशनल हैं, उनको ये नहीं करना चाहिए, उनके ऊपर इस तरह से बंधन होना चाहिए। एंड द टाइप्स ऑफ वर्क अपॉर्चुनिटीज दैट आर ओपन्ड टू women correspond to this particular perception of women's capacities. This limits women's opportunities, pushing them towards positions such as domestic और सेक्रेटेरियल वर्क। उनको लोअर लेडर का काम दिया जाता है जहाँ पर कि ज़्यादा मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ की ज़रूरत नहीं होती, फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ की ज़रूरत नहीं होती, ज़्यादा भाग दौड़ करने की ज़रूरत नहीं होती, instead of managerial positions where intellect is valued over emotions. And this kind of gender, gender beliefs lead to gender discrimination and gender inequality. हम जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात करते हैं, तो जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन का एक्चुअली में मतलब क्या है? अगर महिला, मैंने पहले भी कहा कि अगर बैलेंस्ड सोसाइटी है, विमेन जो करना चाहती है वो कर रही है, इफ शी इज गिविंग ऑल द अपॉर्चुनिटीज, तो हम कहेंगे जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं है। बट जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन मीन्स डिफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ देयर जेंडर। हम सिर्फ जेंडर और बायोलॉजी को जब सिनोनिमस समझते हैं तभी हम जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करते हैं। सो जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन involves systematic and structural discrimination against women in the ideas, customs, and rituals, roles and responsibilities, distribution of income, access to resources. Resources are like education, health, property, participation in decision making, autonomy and authority over the assets, access to opportunities. All these kinds of gender discriminations are prevailing in our society, and it arises from differences in socially constructed gender roles and gender stereotypes. अब हम जब देखते हैं कि जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हमारी सोसाइटी में इतना है, तो जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन प्लेसेस विमेन एट सर्टेन पोजीशन एंड मेन एट अ डिफरेंट पोजीशन। जैसे हम एक जनरली बात करते हैं कि मेन आर सुपीरियर, हमारे पेट्रियार्कल कंडीशन जो सोसाइटी है, एंड विमेन आर इन्फीरियर। तो वो तय कैसे होता है? जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन क्या क्या चीज़ों को तय करता है? फर्स्ट, हु डज व्हाट। अब अगर हम ये देखें हु डज व्हाट, तो मेन इज डूइंग व्हाट एंड विमेन इज डूइंग व्हाट। मैन इज डूइंग ऑल द वर्क एसोसिएटेड विद मनी, जैसे हम फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी की भी अभी मैडम ने बात की थी कि ऑल्दो विमेन इज वर्किंग बट शी इज नॉट लिटरेट फाइनेंशियली, उसके फाइनेंसेस मेल मेंबर्स संभालते हैं। तो हु डज व्हाट, विमेन क्या कर रही हैं, मेन क्या कर रहे हैं? तो इससे समाज में, परिवार में एक महिला की स्थिति तय होती है। क्यों? क्योंकि जो डोमेस्टिक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज हैं दे आर नॉट एसोसिएटेड विद एनी काइंड ऑफ मॉनेटरी गेन। विमेन का जो हाउस होल्ड वर्क है इट इज इनविजिबल। तो मारिया मीस करके एक फेमिनिस्ट स्कॉलर है, वो विमेन के इस तरह के जो वर्क है उसको कहती हैं कि शैडो वर्क, कि वो शैडो वर्क है, एक्चुअल वर्क इज परफॉर्म्ड बाय मेन and women is only doing the shadow work. So who does what decides the place of a woman and a man in the society? Then the second thing is who has what. अब हम देखते हैं हमारे पास क्या है, who has what। एक आदमी के पास क्या है, एक विमेन के पास क्या है। तो इसमें हम दो तरह से देख सकते हैं, वन इज डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर एंड द सेकेंड थिंग इज assets और accessibility. So all the assets and accessibilities are in the hands of men. Women are denied or having lesser amount of this. And in terms of decision making, या हम कहें कि उसके पास किस तरह की पावर है, ठीक है ना, पेट्रियार्की है तो उसके पास हर तरह का जो कंट्रोल है, अथॉरिटी है, वो चीज़ है। तो it also places women at the subordinate position. So first one was who does what, then who has what, and the third one is who decides. अब कुछ भी फैमिली में डिसाइड करना है, कम्युनिटी में कुछ डिसीजन लेने हैं, तो ऑल द डिसीजंस आर टेकन बाय द मेल मेंबर्स ऑफ द सोसाइटी। हमारे परिवारों में हेड इज ऑलवेज अ मेल हेडेड सोसाइटीज, हम पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटीज को कहते हैं। देन हु गेन्स ऑल्सो डिटरमाइंस द प्लेस ऑफ अ वुमेन इन आवर सोसाइटी। हु गेन्स, अब कोई भी काम है तो उससे फायदा किसको होता है? अगर हम फीमेल फिटिसाइड की बात करें तो उससे गेन्स किसको है? गेन्स एक विमेन को कोई गेन नहीं है, बिकॉज द बॉय विल नॉट रन हर गोत्र, हर फैमिली, ठीक है। जो भी मेल होगा वो इनहेरिट करेगा अपने फादर की संपत्ति को, अपने फादर का वो सक्सेसर होगा। तो इसीलिए कोई भी गेन्स, हमारी पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी में जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इस तरह से है कि जो गेन्स हैं दे आर ऑलवेज टुवर्ड्स, मूविंग टुवर्ड्स द मेल मेंबर्स। देन हु लूजेस, तो लूजर्स कौन है? लूजर्स आर ऑलवेज विमेन। अगर हम देखें कि हस्बैंड मूव करता है ड्यू टू हिज एम्प्लॉयमेंट, ड्यू टू हिज करियर, तो विमेन भी अपना सब कुछ छोड़ के हस्बैंड के साथ मूव करती है। सब कुछ इन द सेंस कि अगर वो नौकरी करती है तो वो नौकरी छोड़ सकती है, अगर उसका प्रमोशन होने वाला है तो उस प्रमोशन को छोड़ सकती है कि प्रमोशन विल ब्रिंग ट्रांसफ़र, तो वो ट्रांसफ़र पे नहीं जाएगी क्योंकि उसका घर डिस्टर्ब होगा, उसको लगेगा कि मेरी घर में ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है और वो वहीं पे स्टे करेगी, एंड शी विल लीव दैट अपॉर्चुनिटी। तो लूजर्स अगर हम बात करें तो विमेन आर ऑलवेज द लूजर्स एंड गेनर्स आर ऑलवेज द मेन। तो इस तरह से हम ये 5 चीज़ों को अगर देख कर चलें तो ये 5 फैक्टर्स हमें ये दिखाते हैं कि हाउ विमेन आर प्लेस्ड इन आवर सोसाइटी एंड हाउ men are placed in our society. आपको जब हम जेंडर रोल, जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप्स और जेंडर इक्वालिटी, एम्पावरमेंट, इन सब चीज़ों की हम जब बात करते हैं तो एक सबने सुना होगा नोबल लॉरेट अमर्त्य सेन। अमर्त्य सेन को कौन नहीं जानता, सब जानते हैं। उन्होंने मैनी फेसेस ऑफ जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी करके एक उनका आर्टिकल है, मैनी फेसेस ऑफ इनइक्वालिटी, एंड अमर्त्य सेन highlighted 7 kinds of gender inequality prevalent in our society due to the subordinate position of women. अब वो कौन कौन सी मैं आपको एक एक करके बताती हूँ। फर्स्ट वन इज mortality. First of all, I will read them out. Mortality inequality, natality inequality, basic facility inequality, special opportunity inequality, professional inequality, ownership inequality, and household inequality. So first of all, if we take mortality inequality, what does it mean? Inequality between men and women directly involves with matters of life and death, and takes the brutal form of unusually high mortality rates of women. और ये क्यों होता है? ड्यू टू द जेंडर बायस इन हेल्थ केयर एंड न्यूट्रिशन। अभी आप लोग आगे आने वाले सेशंस में हेल्थ, न्यूट्रिशन, इन सबको टच करने वाले हैं। तो अगर हम देखें इंडिया में तो मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी इज़ वेरी हाई एज कंपेयर टू अदर डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज, and this is due to the nutritional bias, हेल्थ केयर में जो एक्सेसिबिलिटी उनकी नहीं है इस वजह से। तो मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी इंडिकेटर्स आर शोइंग द मोर्टेलिटी इनइक्वालिटी। तो दिस इज वन ऑफ द बेसिक फॉर्म ऑफ जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी, जिसको कि हमें दूर करना होगा by providing better nutrition, by reducing the gender biases. अगर हम अनीमिया को ही देखें तो इन हरियाणा almost 65% women between the age of 15 to 49 years are suffering from anemia. हरियाणा कोई गरीब राज्य नहीं है, it is a very prosperous state. यहाँ पर हर चीज़ बहुत अच्छी है, लेकिन फिर भी अगर हम बिहार जैसे, छत्तीसगढ़ जैसे पुअर स्टेट से कंपेयर करें तो वी हियर more women are suffering from anemia. It is not due to the shortage of food, but it is due to the mentality. जैसा अभी मनोजा मैम ने भी किया था कि women put their health at the last priority. इसीलिए आगे चल करके जब वो माँ बनती हैं तब मैटरनल हेल्थ उनकी डिटेरियोरेटेड रहती है and they are at the risk during the time of pregnancy. और इसीलिए मैटरनल डेथ्स भी होती हैं और उनका न्यूट्रिशन हेल्थ जो है वो भी खराब होती है. Then the second inequality, natality inequality. What does it mean? Natality inequality means a preference for boys over girls. In most of the, or I can say that in all the male dominated societies, boys are preferred over males, and gender inequality manifests itself in the form of Sun syndrome. And with the help of available ultrasound technologies, we try to determine the sex of the fetus, and if it is a female child, we try to abort it or get rid of it. It is not only a practice which is prevalent nowadays, but female infanticide is also very, very much prevalent. अभी रिसेंटली 15-20 दिन पहले की बात है, करनाल के कॉलेज में बात हो रही थी. तब स्टूडेंट्स ने बताया कि they cited 2 cases where female infanticide was conducted. कि आप न्यूज़पेपर्स में भी रोज सुनते हो, मतलब आए दिन आता रहता है कि कूड़े के ढेर में से बच्ची, नवजात शिशु मिला, एंड शी इज डेफिनेटली अ फीमेल चाइल्ड. तो फीमेल इन्फेंटिसाइड, फीमेल फीटिसाइड, दे आर लीडिंग टू नेटैलिटी इनइक्वालिटी. और ये नेटैलिटी इनइक्वालिटी तभी दूर होगी व्हेन वी विल गेट रिड ऑफ द सन सिंड्रोम. सन सिंड्रोम को दूर करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Then the third one is basic facility inequality. Basic facility inequality means we are denying girls from certain basic facilities, like excluding girls from schooling. There are also other deficiencies in the basic facilities available to women, varying from encouragement to cultivate one's natural talent in their free participation in different spheres. हम क्या करते हैं कि स्कूलिंग चलो अगर कर भी रही हैं बच्चियां, हम उनको ये बताते हैं कि आपको साइंस पढ़ना है, आपको कॉमर्स पढ़ना है या आपको आर्ट्स पढ़ना है. वी डू नॉट ट्राई टू आइडेंटिफाई द टैलेंट ऑफ द गर्ल चाइल्ड, बल्कि हम खुद उन पर थोपते हैं बिकॉज ऑफ द जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप्स कि गर्ल्स इस तरह की स्ट्रीम्स में ही फिट होंगी, गर्ल्स इस तरह की स्ट्रीम्स में फिट नहीं होंगी, या बहुत सारी और भी जो फैक्टर्स हैं, सोशल फैक्टर्स, कल्चरल फैक्टर्स, उनकी वजह से हम उनको डिनाई कर देते हैं फ्रॉम द बेसिक फैसिलिटीज. देन स्पेशल अपॉर्चुनिटी फैसिलिटीज. व्हाट डज इट मीन? स्पेशल अपॉर्चुनिटी इनइक्वालिटी मीन्स जेंडर बायसेस in providing special facilities like for higher education, encouragement for higher education, for professional training, sending far off places for learning some skills. जैसे कि लड़की को भी दूर नहीं भेजेंगे, उसको बहुत हॉस्टल में रहना पड़ेगा कि कौन देखेगा. तो इस तरह की जो मेंटालिटी है, दिस इज denying women from the special opportunities. Then the fifth one is professional inequalities. In terms of employment as well as promotion at work and occupation, women often face greater handicap than women. जब भी किसी काम को करने की बात हो या छोटी बात हो, उनको बहुत सारी हिदायतें दी जाती हैं कि आपके लिए क्या सूटेबल है, क्या चीज़ सूटेबल नहीं है, कैसे काम करना है, कैसे काम नहीं करना है. Besides that, there are wage differentials. आप देखोगे कि नॉट इवन इन इंडिया बट ऑल्सो इन द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज लाइक यूएस और ब्रिटेन, आप न्यूज़पेपर में देखिए खबर आती है कि विमेन आर सफरिंग फ्रॉम वेज डिफरेंशियल्स। हमारे यहाँ पे आप एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री, इतनी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री है, उसमें विमेन जो एक्टर्स हैं, फीमेल एक्टर्स, उनको लेसर वेजेस दिए जाते हैं एज कम्पेयर टू मेल। इसी तरह से बहुत सारे कॉर्पोरेट्स हाउसेज हैं जहाँ पर कि विमेन आर higher on lower salaries. Besides that, there is one most common problem at the occupational front, and that is sexual harassment of women at the workplace. Because of the authority and control of male in the male-dominated society, जो male members हैं, they do not provide proper space for women to work comfortably. और एक ऐसा होस्टाइल एनवायरनमेंट कई बार क्रिएट हो जाता है, इंटिमिडेटिंग एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट हो जाता है, जो कि विमेन को अनकंफर्टेबल कर देता है एंड शी हैज़ टू लीव द जॉब। तो सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट, hostile environment, this is also a professional inequality with which women suffer a lot during her professional career. Then the sixth one is ownership inequality. What does it mean? Ownership of property is very unequal. हम सब देखते हैं ओनरशिप किसके पास है। हर घर में कुछ ना कुछ ओनरशिप होती है, चाहे एक मकान हो, चाहे कोई बैंक बैलेंस हो या कुछ हो, तो उस पर किसकी ओनरशिप होती है? बेसिक असेट्स सच एज होम्स, लैंड्स या मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, they are very asymmetrically shared. The absence of claims to property not only reduce the voice of women but also make it harder for women to enter and flourish in commercial, economic and even some social activities. हमेशा उसको डिपेंडेंट रहना पड़ता है। क्रेडिट भी कोई नहीं देता है, लोन भी कोई नहीं देता है विमेन को जब तक कि कोई गारंटी ना हो। तो उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट तरह तरह से प्रोग्राम्स एंड पॉलिसीज इम्प्लीमेंट करती है। तो ये जो ओनरशिप इनइक्वालिटी है, ये विमेन को एक बहुत मजबूती के साथ हैंडीकैप करती है टू कम फॉरवर्ड, टू मूव फॉरवर्ड। एंड द सेवेंथ वन इज हाउसहोल्ड इनइक्वालिटी. Household inequality means there are basic inequalities in gender relations within the family or the household. Even in cases in which there are no overt signs of anti-female bias, survival or son preference or education, or even in promotion of higher executive positions, the family arrangements can be quite unequal in terms of sharing the burden of housework and child rearing. तो ये जो हाउसहोल्ड इनइक्वालिटी
फ्रॉम प्रिंसिपल, एचओडी एंड इंटरनल गाइड, क्योंकि जैसे हमारे सिग्नेचर हो जाते हैं ना तो वो सर्टिफाइड हो जाता है। समझ में आया? तो इसलिए अलग से कोई सर्टिफिकेट का
We are so sorry for this technical intervention. Vanda ma'am, please continue.
Okay.
Vanda ma'am?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
Yes ma'am, please.
Am I
continue.
audible?
Yes,
सुनाई दे रहा
perfectly
है?
audible. हाँ जी मैम,
Okay.
बिल्कुल।
So it is important to take note of the variety of forms that gender inequality can take place. Inequality between women and men cannot be confronted and overcome by one set of all purpose remedy. हम ऐसे कहें कि ये कोई स्विच है, बटन है, इसको दबाएं और ठीक हो जाएगा सब कुछ. It is not like that. Over time, the same society can move from one type of gender inequality to harboring other forms of that inequality. The different forms of gender inequality can impose diverse adversities on the lives of men and women. Different forms of, in addition to those of women and girls. दोनों ही इससे सफर करते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ women ही करती हैं. So in understanding the different aspects of gender inequality, we have to look beyond the predicament of women and examine the problems created for men as well as by the asymmetrical treatment of women. अगर हम ये देखें कि how to achieve gender equality, तो what how we can move ahead or we can remove this kind of barriers, gender barriers. So there are 4 suggestions from my side. First is overcoming personal barriers. First of all, women have to overcome from their own personal barriers. They have to come out of their comfort zones कि अरे क्या करेंगे, ठीक है, हम ऐसे ही ठीक हैं. They have to build up self-confidence, create positive self-esteem, create positive self-image. They should have proper education, knowledge acquisition, then try to break gender biases. A woman also should try to create a work-life balance. Work-life balance इसलिए बहुत ज़रूरी है क्योंकि हम सिर्फ काम करें और घर पर ध्यान ना दें, क्योंकि जेंडर रोल रिवर्सल हो नहीं सकता है. विमेन अगर चाइल्ड बियरिंग करती हैं तो उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि वो चाइल्ड केयर भी प्रॉपरली करें. तो दे शुड मेंटेन अ वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस इन देयर लाइफ in order to break all the barriers of their career. So these are some of the personal barriers which each and every woman should overcome. Then the second one is structural barriers. Structural barriers means the barriers which are put due to the gender, due to the structure of the household, due to the gender ideology. So disproportionate burden of unpaid work. ये एक बहुत बड़ा बैरियर है जिसको कि थोड़ा रिलैक्स करने के लिए विमेन को जो अपने फैमिली के मेल मेंबर्स हैं उनके साथ में कोऑपरेटिव और कोलैबोरेशन के साथ चलना पड़ेगा. इसके अलावा जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस मैंने अभी आपको बताया था कि who has what, who decides, who gains, who loses. So this makes a power relation between men and women. When men is having all the gains, when men is having all the decision making powers, he has all the assets, he has all the ownerships, then it is obvious that he has more power. And women have lesser power. So this creates an imbalanced relationship between men and women, or we can say that relationship between men and women are power based. तो ये जो power based relationships हैं, they are manifested in the form of gender based violence. तो अगर हम चाहते हैं कि gender based violence दूर हो, तो first of all we have to create a balanced relationship between men and women by breaking the power from the relationship. उसके अलावा the women can also start or we can promote or encourage women to participate in the decision making process, to come forward कि नहीं चलो वही डिसाइड कर लेंगे. ऐसा नहीं है. अगर आपके पास नॉलेज है, अगर आपके पास इंफॉर्मेशन है, then you can also participate in decision making process of the family and of the society. So these kind of structural barriers अगर हम तोड़ेंगे तो हम empowerment की तरफ move करेंगे. Then the third one is cultural barriers. अब cultural barriers को तोड़ना बहुत मुश्किल होता है और हरियाणा में तो खाप पंचायत हैं जो कि किसी cultural barrier को तोड़े तो वो ऑनर किलिंग्स तक करने के लिए तैयार रहती हैं. तो बहुत सारी कल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, स्टीरियोटाइप्स हैं, जेंडर नॉर्म्स हैं जिनको कि हमको देखना पड़ेगा कि हम किस तरह से उनसे ओवरकम होंगे विद टाइम. जैसे जैसे चेंजेस आ रहे हैं, लड़कियां एजुकेशन ले रही हैं, आगे बढ़ रही हैं, तो इनकी जो बॉन्डिंग है, जो इनकी रिजिडिटी है, वो भी धीरे धीरे लूज हो रही है, तो वो समय के साथ साथ लूज होगी. Then the fourth one is institutional barriers. What are the institutional barriers? Institutional barriers means the legal provisions, the judiciary, the policies and programs. And to overcome the institutional barriers, the best measure is gender mainstreaming. Gender mainstreaming, through gender mainstreaming, we can achieve gender equality. It is an approach to recognize the needs to take social, economic differences between men and women into account to ensure that proposed policies and programs have intended and fair results for women and men, boys and girls. हमें इस तरह के programs, policies को design करना चाहिए, इस तरह के strategies को which are not only concerning women but men also. So gender inequality is experienced by and between individuals. It is also a result of power relations, as I said, that structure how societies are organized, laws are implemented, economies function, ideologies are shaped. इन सब चीज़ों का result gender inequality है. All these factors are interconnected. Gender norms are driven by material access to and control over resources, as well as to economic participation. Conversely, economic participation is hampered by gender norms related to marriage, childbearing, and rearing roles. This means changing one aspect of gender inequality can have effects on other forms of inequality. So these elements can transform gender power relations, thereby bringing social change. तो हम अगर सोशल चेंज लाने की बात करते हैं, हम अगर विमेन एम्पावरमेंट की बात करते हैं, तो सबसे पहले वी हैव टू ब्रेक द जेंडर बायसेस, वी हैव टू ब्रेक द जेंडर रोल्स, जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइप्स, जेंडर आइडियोलॉजीज विच आर पुटिंग विमेन एट द बैक फुट और उनको डिसएडवांटेज्ड कंडीशन में रखा जाता है. लेसर अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, लेसर फैसिलिटीज़ उनको मिलती हैं इसकी वजह से. सो दोनों, एक तो हमको माहौल ठीक करना है और दूसरे विमेन को भी इस तरह से सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस और हर चीज़ उनको एनकरेजमेंट देना है ताकि वो भी आगे बढ़ने के लिए हिम्मत जुटा सकें. तो यहाँ पे मुझे एक ग्लोरिया स्टेनन फेमिनिस्ट स्कॉलर हैं, उनका एक कोट मैं मेंशन करना चाहूँगी. डोंट थिंक अबाउट मेकिंग विमेन fit the world. Think about making the world fit women. So by these words, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share my views at this platform. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We hope that our participants have gained the best out of this intellectual talk in this session today. So now, may I invite Ms. Nancy Chopra to propose vote of thanks to our resource person, Dr. Vandana, for delivering such an engaging talk.
Thank you, Hina ma'am. A warm and graceful morning to all the dignitaries present here. As it is rightly said, feeling thankfulness and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. So, on behalf of Sanatan Dharam College, Ambala, Kent, and the entire organizing team, I, Nancy Chopra, deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the formal vote of thanks on this memorable occasion for our distinguished resource person, Dr. Vandana Dave. I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. Vandana, for taking her precious time out and consenting to be the chief guest of this one-day national seminar. Ma'am, indeed your words have inspired all of us and enlightened our knowledge on the gender-sensitive issues. Ma'am has elaborated the various concepts and the related issues and how education can help to bring a transformation in the society and how important it is to understand all the issues for the overall and the balanced growth of the society. Thank you, ma'am, for such an interactive and enlightening session and for sharing with us your words of wisdom and clearing our concepts. Once again, I express my heartfelt gratitude to ma'am for making this event an unforgettable event. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Hina ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nancy ma'am. Now it's the time for tea break. Kindly don't leave the meeting. We will again start the session in 15 minutes at 12 p.m. But one important information for all of you. Due to technical glitches, we are not able to continue our seminar in post-lunch session on Cisco WebEx. So all of you are requested to join through Google Meet. Link has been provided to you on registered email ID. Please listen carefully. Post-lunch session is on Google Meet, but post-tea session is here only. Don't leave the meeting right now. We will begin the next session in 15 minutes at 12 p.m. sharp.
1:30.
Feedback link will be shared with you in valedictory session. Good afternoon, everyone. I, Hina, welcome you again in post-tea session of one-day online national seminar organized by Department of Commerce and Gender Sensitization Cell in collaboration with Directorate of Higher Education, Haryana. Now it's the time to invite our next resource person of first technical session, Professor Kavita Chauhan. So now moving ahead, may I please request Dr. Mohit Bindlish, Assistant Professor, Sanatan Dharam College, Ambala, Kent, to introduce our next resource person, Professor Kavita Chauhan. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Am I audible? Okay, thank you, ma'am. So a very good afternoon to all the dignitaries who have joined this event from Pan India and my fellow colleagues. I hope that all of you are safe and doing well at your place. It is a matter of honor for me to introduce and welcome such a great personality, Professor Kavita Chauhan, who is presently working as a professor at Center for Management Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia Central University, New Delhi. She is having expertise in finance, project appraisal, and banking. She has completed her BA Mathematics and Computer Applications from Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University. She has also completed her MBA from School of Management Studies, GGSIPU, New Delhi. Dr. Chauhan has completed her PhD from Haryana Business School, GJU, Hisar. Dr. Chauhan has very vast experience in teaching domain since 2006 and has passed 19 research papers in different conferences and seminars across the country. She has published 18 research papers in different conferences proceedings and 27 research papers in reputed journals. One of her research work titled Efficiency Assessment and Benchmarking of Thermal Power Plant in India in a journal Energy Policy published by Elsevier. She has numerous publications to her credit. Dr. Chauhan has published 2 chapters in books and one of the chapter in Assessment of Electronics based integrated marketing communication for rural areas in North India, Organizational Flexibility and Competitiveness, published by the Springer publication. She has also edited a book titled Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Dr. Chauhan has almost devoted her entire career in motivating the listeners and discussing about new concepts and avenues. She has delivered many invited lectures on the topics solving problems with design thinking, customer relationship management, transformation of marketing fundamentals, green marketing, digitized products, and factors influencing the effectiveness of advertising communication. She has also chaired various sessions in seminars and conferences. She is also a member of Board of Studies in Central University of Karnataka, Gulbarga, and RPAC member in Lingaya University. Dr. Chauhan has also completed major research project entitled Analysis and Develop EIMC Model for Rural Development in Northern India, funded by the UGC, and also a major research project entitled A New Methodology Towards Standardizing Customer Satisfaction Index for Businesses, an explanatory approach sponsored by ICSSR. 9 students have already been awarded PhD so far under her valuable guidance, and 8 candidates are currently enrolled for PhD with her. A true academician always keeps on developing their skills. Dr. Chauhan is a real example who has completed different courses like Design Thinking for Innovation online course organized by University of Virginia, course on Google Analytics for power users, and advanced Google Analytics. We are very fortunate enough to have Ma'am Kavita Chauhan amongst us for sharing her experience. Now, I would like to request Professor Kavita Chauhan, Madam, to kindly share her experiences with our participants. Well, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. I'm really very delighted by sharing such a good words about me. So before I start, first of all, I would like to, I'm highly obliged to being a part of this seminar, because this seminar topic is talking about gender sensitization and women empowerment, and this is this topic is nowadays very important, and that is a much more needed of this time. And I'm really
Sanatan Dharam College, and Dr. Rajendra Singh, Principal, Dr. Mohit, who's the convener, and Mr. Pankaj Kumar, the co-convener of this seminar. And thank you so much for inviting me and organizing such a good seminar related to the topic, which is, I guess, this is a topic which is most important for nowadays. So, good afternoon, participants. I guess all of you heard so many things about gender, about the gender sensitization. You're talking about more about the role of the gender. Vandana ma'am talked about a lot, and she gave you a true feedback, even the real picture of how the gender disparity is going on. So I guess now my topic over here that I want to talk about really more women empowerment in terms of entrepreneurial development, because I guess this is the only way which we can define women, which we can understand that what is the role of the woman. It is not about inside a hall. It is not about inside a room a woman can do. Even if she is inside a room, even though that she can do wonders. So I just, in this session, I would like to share I'd like to share some practices about how the women are participating in women in entrepreneurial development, some stories of the real entrepreneurial people also. So how these things are going on. But first of all, I just want to tell you about this thing that when we're talking about the women empowerment, what is the basic thing that comes in your mind when we're talking about the women empowerment? What is the one thing that comes in your mind? Can you tell me? Participants, sir, can they talk with us, or you have a control for muted thing, or they can unmute themselves and then speak?
Ma'am, actually participants are not able to unmute, but they are allowed to write in the chat box.
Okay. Okay. So participants, can you please write it down on the chat box? Like, what the very first thing that comes in your mind when we are saying just the two words, women empowerment? In general, I'm not talking about any books or something like that. In general, according to you, what do you think? Independent, that's good. Decision-making authority, very good. Skill development, independence, taking decision for herself, decision-making power, that's great. That's great. See, whenever we are talking about women empowerment, we are talking about all of these things that related to the decision, related to the skills, and all these things. According to me, the very first thing that the woman should learn to say a single one word, that is enough. Unless and until women is talking about and is saying, now it's enough. I'm done with this thing. Now I want to be what I'm thinking, what I'm planning for it. So when we're talking about this enough word, so this is the word that the woman should learn to say. Unless until what the Vandana ma'am is talking about, whether you're talking about the financial part, whether you're talking about any major decision in anything, women never be a part of it. So when we're talking about entrepreneurial development, when we're talking about the decision making, when we're talking about the independence, with either I'm talking about to the skill development, we cannot provide a skill to any woman unless and until she wants to do it. So when she wants to do it, there's a single word she wants to learn it about enough. And then now imagine like when Mohit sir is talking about, when the Mohit sir is introducing me, he talking about as an Dr. Chauhan. So there's one thing that always associate with a woman power, that is my it's not by my name, it is about the name that is associated with me. So when we're talking about entrepreneurial part, when we're talking about the women empowerment, that is one thing that we need to understand. Particularly if I'm talking about the women thing, that is who we are. मैं कौन हूँ? It is not about that I have to take a decision. First of all, answer the thing that who we are. So whenever we are talking about this thing, a mindset, we have to feed the mindset of the primary focused. What is this primary focused? कि आपको अगर अपना mindset set करना है, there's a one thing that you have to keep in your mind, that if you are doing a business, men is not your competitor. The very first thing that you have to keep in your mind, that is the world is the competitor, not only men is your competitor. So whenever we are doing any business, or when we are startup of any entrepreneurial part, or we're talking about having any new startup or something like that, we have to think about that bigger, better, faster, and stronger. So these are the certain things that we have to keep in our mind while we're thinking about. So these are the primary mindset, because whenever we are saying that we are working, being as a woman entrepreneur, so being as a woman entrepreneur, it means what we are doing it, that how can we make, or what we can make changes in the world economy. Now we are talking about the world economy. We are not carrying any name tag over this thing. There's no such tag is there. The only thing we are working with, that how can I help the world, or how can I help my country to be a participative in raising the economy of that particular country. These are the certain things that we have to keep in our mind. So now I'm sharing my PPT with you, in which we are talking about the many things related to what is the entrepreneur, what is entrepreneur development, what we are talking about to be the role of the woman entrepreneur, how the woman entrepreneur is working about, what are the challenges that they are facing, all of these things, because we have learned so many things about. But nowadays, now we are talking about that how a woman can make changes in terms of the decisions. How can they make the change? How can she even if she sit at the home, even though she can be a part of the world economy. This is the one thing that you have to learn it. It is not necessary that you have to be a highly educated person. If you are not very highly educated person, even though you can make a changes in the world economy. Okay. So let me share my PPT with you. But my PPT is visible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am, that's visible.
Okay, thank you so much. Chali, now as we are talking about this PPT, they're talking about the entrepreneurial development and the women empowerment and all of these certain many things that is the most important for nowadays. So now tell me that if I'm talking about in general, like nowadays, that if अगर मैं इंडिया की बात करती हूँ, तो इंडिया में हमारे we have a huge population. अब ह्यूज पॉपुलेशन है तो ऑब्वियसली हमारे पास जो प्रॉब्लम है वो सबसे बड़ी अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट की भी है. So if women happens to be one of the best tools to go for the women empowerment, if they're working on the role of the as a women entrepreneur, that is one thing. So I mean, as I told you, that for being as an entrepreneur, the women need not to be very highly educated. It's not necessary to be there, but it must be the sufficient enough. ये इतना important है उनके लिए that she must have a basic language, what we can say, that is about the basic knowledge about the language, about this entrepreneurial skills, that if I have to take a decision, what is the best decision that I have to work for it, and all of these things. So because अगर हम बात करते हैं, like suppose all of you people that जितनी भी women हैं हमारी, they are all doing the dual roles, like they are handling their their career also, they're handling their family also. So we are working, we are fulfilling it, our dual role. We are being or not ever, we are working on the suitable profession, we are working on the regular employment, we are either in a public sector, either in a private sector. So when the women are venturing in all kind of all kind of this enterprise, expanding the economy of the country, and whether either the woman can be an owner, either एक producer भी हो सकती हैं, एक coordinators भी हो सकती हैं, she can be a seller, वो कुछ बेच भी सकती हैं, she can be a decision maker, she can be a risk taker, no I need to take a risk, or she can be an innovator also. It is not necessary that there's no such tag mark is there that the woman can't be an innovator and she can't take risk. She can. If the ample opportunity will given to them, then she will go for it. Plus, what happens that when we're talking about this women entrepreneur, the most important thing that they create an employment opportunities for others. So nowadays, when I guess when any women that she's working, being as an entrepreneur, that this is a supplement for their family income using their potential skills while the process. Her skills can be competent, her skills can be nurtured enough by giving them the training and all these things. So in this slides, we learn about all of certain things. Okay. As Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru talk about, you can tell the condition of a nation by looking at the status of its women. That's true. It is not only the saying, it is the how you are feeling certain things. That is in a most important text nowadays. Because somehow what happens, what I think about that, if policymaker, because as in a country, we have the, if we really want to truly, अगर मैं चाहती हूँ कि सच में एक वुमेन का empowerment हो, तो then what is the role of the policy maker? What the policy maker need to do it? What are their needs that they what the policy maker needs to address the constraint? अब अगर constraint आता है when we talking about to empower a woman, then something is that there's a two things that they have to work for it. Any matter whether the just the two elements they need to change in the society. The very first thing is conscious need to be shifted. That is, there must be a internally constraint and the aspiration barrier that they keep women in a situation of the subordinate. So women, whenever anything, I cannot raise you. The woman has to raise his voice. But if the woman is talking about to raising her voice, if I'm saying okay, अगर मैं कहती हूँ कि मैंने आपको एक अपॉर्चुनिटी दी, इन केस अगर एक वुमेन अपॉर्चुनिटी ग्रास्प ही नहीं कर रही है, she doesn't want to work it out. So the policy makers, they had to consciously to be shifting up by changing the attitude in the society. So that is an important thing. कि अगर मेरा घर में एक छोटा बच्चा है, तो that is the difference I'm creating. As the Vandana ma'am is talking about कि toys अलग होते हैं, बाबी के साथ है, कार्स के साथ खेलना है, whatever the things they are doing it. So हम शुरू से ही एक differentiate करते चले जाते हैं. अगर the family में मेरे guest है, I'm supposed to do it कि जो girls की daughter है, that she has to supposed to admire the guest, she's supposed to bring and all these things, to take care of the guest and each and everything. Even the boy in the family doesn't take care of all of these things. That's true, that is going on. So there is a certain things that हम लोग हमेशा सिखाते हैं कि हमारी जो लड़की हैं, the women they are, that is the something a very subordinate one. Yes, you are the secondary one, you are not the primary one over here. आप if in case अगर आप कोई decision ले रहे हैं या आप कुछ discuss कर रहे हैं, तो वो हमेशा से आपको, even there someone is telling you and then you are doing it. There are certain things that the people, that it is something that is moving on in a society. So that is so since we have to break the taboo of the society, no, and that should become within a family also. we are talking of government ne, there are so many policies they are giving for it. They can come up with a policy and all these things कि आपको policy मिल रही है, आपको हम sponsor कर रहे हैं project. There are so many self-helping groups are there. Those are working very hard to go for the women empowerment. But the most important thing over here, that is how can they something from the internal कि आपकी अंदर से when you learn about certain things कि yes, nowadays I'm taking a grip of my own life. That someone else is not taking decision for my life. It is me who's taking decision for the things which I need to do or which I want to do it. And secondly, that is the challenges and the cultural beliefs that are going on. So these are the two things. Internally, you need to empower the woman. It is not only from the giving them the financial front, giving them all of these things. No. हम लोग काउंसलर के एमसीडी के इलेक्शंस कराते हैं, हम लोग सेट कर देते हैं कि इतनी फीमेल्स आएंगे, बट एक्चुअली में जब हम काउंसलर्स के हमारे elections and all these things going on, the males behind a lady, that he is making all the decision. यहाँ रैली करनी है, ये करना है, वो करना है. So that is the something when unless and until policy maker is talking about that, making a change in the women internally, even then you आप कितनी भी अपनी start कर लीजिए, कितनी policy start कर लीजिए, whenever you would need to do it, but it doesn't work. And second thing, ये होगा कैसे? Unless and until you make a changes in the society and the culture. So you need to change culture belief. You need to work on the gender, and the power must be challenged. That is the important thing. So these are some learning outcomes that we will learn about in this thing, PPT. So now when we're talking about, if I'm talking about generally, that what is the empowerment, how the empowerment is working on it. So if I go by the dictionary word, they are saying ki these are the certain things when we're talking about the empowerment and all these things. But if we say what is the empowerment means, that is the empowerment is the level of choice. आपको you are saying कि you are giving a choice, but at what level? एक डिग्री आपको कितनी मिलती है choice लेने की, कि आपको सिर्फ इतनी ही choice लेना है कि ये पसंद है, वो पसंद है, only this thing that you can make a choice. And the next thing आपके ऊपर influence कितना है, controlling कितनी है. So empowerment is that you are giving them the level of the choice, influence and control that can exercise over the events in their life. That is given by the WHO. So empowerment, if you ask me कि empowerment है क्या, हम लोग empowerment बात करते हैं, पर empowerment है क्या? लोगों के पास अपनी power होनी चाहिए, control over their own life. No one else can take a decision for me. They can help me, they can guide me, they can suggest me, they can advise me, but they can't take decision for me. Same as the people get in a support they need, that is right for them. So I can get in a report, support from this thing, but no one can take a decision for me. And when we're talking about the empowerment means that is the something that the people are equal citizen, a part of the gender, a part of the each and everything. So that must be respect and confident in their own community. So whenever we talking, so this is something that you need to understand कि अगर हम लोग बोलते हैं कि हम empower करना चाह रहे हैं, but you cannot empower someone else or make someone empowered. And when they got it, yes, it is about the ways of working or supporting someone. That means they can take in a control and the responsibility of their own life. So whenever you are taking, when you are working and when you are taking in a control and the responsibility of their own life, if you are doing certain things, that means that yes, you are empowered. जब तक आप अपने decisions खुद नहीं लेंगे related to कि आपको job करनी है, आपको business करना है, कहाँ से आपको funds generate करने, they can help you, but ultimately decision has to be taken by you. You want to do it or not? Who will be your partner? How will you go for the financing? What is the how you will get the all the other things over this thing कि आपको कोई product में जाना है या आप कह दो नहीं मेरे को सिर्फ producing में जाना है, I don't want to sell the product. Whatever you want to do it and start taking responsibility. Usually होता है क्या है कि हम लोग decision तो लेना चाहते हैं पर हम responsibility से there's a little bit just because कि हमारी जो grooming है वो इस तरह से नहीं हुई है कि हमारी family में we are not able to take the we are taking responsibility of the whole of it, but we are not taking the responsibilities are given by the others. It is not myself that I would take a responsibility. Yes, whatever I am doing, I am responsible for it. हमें तो responsibility दी जाती है. ये आपकी responsibility है, छोटा भाई है, छोटी बहन है, ये आपको देखना है, ये आपका household है, आपको इतना पढ़ना भी है, आपको ये भी करना है. So that is the dual thing is going on. If they are not giving the opportunity, even they are not giving a right to study, even they are saying no, this is the how things that you have to take care. Either आप चाहे वो developing countries की बात करें या वो developed countries की बात करें, the story remains the same when we talking about the women part. हम यूएस के एग्जाम्पल ले लें, हम यूरोप का ले लें, हम इंडिया का ले लें, हम बांग्लादेश का ले लें, हम श्रीलंका का ले लें, आपको चॉइसेस दी जाती है. लेवल ऑफ जो चॉइसेस है वो डिफर कर जाती है. They're taken up busy in certain things कि हाँ वे आपने अपना लेक्चर आपने अपना that you are taking your decision कि हाँ आज आपने इतना ये that you want to buy it, that you want to have eat it, but what about the bigger things that we want to take in a role of it? Why they always engage us in a small things? Why not? I can't be a part of the world economy. Why not? So unless and until if I'm giving a strength to the any economic condition of the country, then what is my viewpoint? Why I'm doing certain things? These are the certain things when we're talking about empowerment that you have to work for it and you have to look for it. Now the next thing that is then a women empowerment. So when we're talking about this women empowerment is that मोस्टली हम लोग यही कहते हैं ना कि चार दीवारी में ही लड़कियों को रखा जाता है. अगर आप चार दीवारी में नहीं हो, अगर आपने ऑफिस भी ज्वाइन किया है, अगर आप पब्लिक सेक्टर में हैं या आप प्राइवेट सेक्टर में हैं, बट एवरीथिंग इज कन्फाइंड. सुबह 8 बजे जाना है तो अगर आप 1 घंटा भी लेट आते हैं, दे ऑलवेज आस्क यू अरे इतना टाइम कहाँ लग गया. अगर आप कहते हैं कि नो आई नीड टू सिट एट माई होम, आई नीड टू वर्क, आई नीड टू बी सिट एट माई ऑफिस क्योंकि मुझे आज अपना प्रोजेक्ट खत्म करना है या मुझे अपना आज काम खत्म करना है, then you need to tell them the reasons for it. You need to clarify it. Why it is so? Why I need to give an explanation of all of my activities which I'm doing it? So, but basically, if that is I'm talking about the urban people. If you're talking about the villages part over this, even in the urban also, we have seen that the many women that they are working in the 4 walls, performing all of the household activities. There's no bad thing about this thing. I'm not saying that they're not supposed to do it or this is not their. It is women wish. If she wants to do it, then it's okay. But if she want to move out, if she want to do something, even sitting at the home, if she wants to do some business or she want to do some activities to explore herself, like if you're saying you're creative enough and you want to explore your creativity, but they're saying nahi, ghar pe baitho, bacche paalo, that is important for you. You show your creativity at your kids. Your kids' behavior shows your creativity. Why it is so? My kid also has his own personality. वो मेरी personality क्यों show करेगा? That is one thing. They're saying कि no, आपका बच्चा आपकी personality show करेगा कि आपने इसको कैसे groom किया. That's true. And grooming is not grooming is done by parents, not by women. So these are the certain things that we have to work for in. So even if you're sitting at a home, if you're sitting at 4 walls, even though we can work for the women empowerment, that the decision I'm taking it, how I'm handling my own life, how I'm handling my own decision. Government is also talking about introducing the so many numerous schemes over there. The policies are there कि हम लोग girls की education को लेके, हम लोग girls की financial को लेके, we are talking about to the social empowerment to the women. And that is, but still remain a very vital issue in front of the government, for which essential measures should be taken to uplift the most potential and the important constituent of the economy. It is not, if you're saying only male can do it, it's nothing important like that. So if I'm talking about in terms of a concept of women empowerment, that they are talking about that touches about the woman's senses of the well-worth. That is the most important thing. And their social identity, their willingness and their ability to question their subordinates' status and their identity. That is an important thing. They have to work on the renegotiate their relationship with the others, no matters who they are, and their ability, that is the most important thing, to participate on equal terms when the men in reshaping the society in which they live in, and they contribute to a more just and a democratic distribution of the power and the possibility. So if nowadays, like of the post-pandemic part, they're saying there's so much changes in the society, there's so much changes in the psychological level. So it is not only the main responsibility to do it, but there should be an equal distribution of the power and possibilities. It is nothing that because a women empowerment means that you are having a power. And if you're just giving the responsibility, not the power, and it is useless. वो बेकार की चीज है अगर आपके पास power ही नहीं है तो. Then the next thing that we are working on, the concept of entrepreneurial development. I guess all of you are aware about this concept of the entrepreneurial development. Because when we're talking about this entrepreneurial part, that is in a most, I'm from the management field, so I just know that it is in a most promising research field in management. And over, even not nowadays, even from the last decades part, and it is highly and it is widely recognized as a critical factor in economic development. So if any person, if the entrepreneurial capability of the person is depend upon the qualities of life. That is why I'm saying if the woman want to work on the entrepreneurial development, then she needs to understand the quality of the life and what that must be. That must be talking about to ability कि मुझे समझ में आना चाहिए, मेरे को सेंस होनी चाहिए कि opportunities क्या है. Then how to mobilize the resources which I'm using, how I can mobilize them, and then attaining the success. I have to define it. For me, what is the success? With the need you want to work for it. And the ability to make a competent plan कि मुझे पता होना चाहिए कि मुझे planning कैसे करनी है. How to make a prompt and good sound decisions. Not good, because good is again a metaphor. I do not know how we understand good or bad, but we are talking about the sound decision. That should be go according to the business plan. And then if for the entrepreneurial development, we need to work on or I can say any person that should be capable enough to take calculative, moderate risk and initiative new ventures. That is an important thing. Very one thing should be hardworking, intelligent, and having a managerial ability to generate the profit. And so these are some skills that we are required for entrepreneurial development. But I am not saying you cannot learn these skills. You every time there's so many courses are going on where because these are some skills and the skills that we can learn very easily. So if I need to describe what is entrepreneurial development, that is the process in which we enhancing our entrepreneurial skills and knowledge through the structured training and institution building program. So it is not necessary that the औरत कहती है कि नहीं I cannot do it, मुझे नहीं आता करना, मेरे को इतना डिसीजन नहीं आता. मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया था if you want to work as an entrepreneur, it is not necessary that you have to be very highly educated. It's not necessary. Even you are moderate enough that to understand the language, there's something that you can communicate with them, even then you can do it. but the only thing is that you need to what we can say, you need to reshape your skills or you need to redefine your skill. आपको अपनी skills को, जो हमारी capabilities हैं, उनको just हमें redefine करना पड़ता है, and this redefining part is going on whenever we are get the opportunity to do it. So that is where the role of the government is very important, to organize such a training program for the women so that they can work for it, okay, and they can build their own skills, they can come up with their own creativity after reshaping of their behavior. So what is the total aim of the entrepreneurial development? That is it is something that what the ventures they are trying to create, या जो भी वो काम करना चाहते हैं, जो भी वो न्यू स्टार्टअप स्टार्ट करना चाहते हैं, या वो एक एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट कर रहे हैं, या एक किसी भी कंट्री की इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट में हेल्प कर रहे हैं, देन हाउ टू मेंटेन दैट पेस, वो जो स्पीड है, वो जो पेस है, वो हमें कैसे मेंटेन करना, दैट इज द इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग. Now the next we are having it women entrepreneurship. So when we talking about this women entrepreneurship, so women entrepreneurship, आप लोग कह सकते हैं ये टूल है. Tool for what? Tool for the women empowerment. If I the woman is thinking I need to empower, then this women entrepreneurship is one tool that helps to any woman to empower herself. Now how can they do it? Whenever they are talking about, they are talking it by giving an access to the resource में, market में जाके, to go for the actual ownership, active control. That is the most important thing, that they need to work on the active control part. And then they need to work. So in this whole process of the empowerment, every person, even I'm talking about every woman, should consider her own strength. She should consider about कि मेरी strength क्या है, मेरी ताकत क्या है, मेरी weakness क्या है, where I'm not, where I need to work it out. मुझे opportunities क्या मिल रही हैं, that I can grasp it. मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा threat क्या है, एक डर क्या, एक threat क्या है जो मुझे, that is the something कि जो मुझे देखना है. And the most important thing, if I need to move forward, मुझे एक अपनी speed से आगे जाना है, so मेरी एक हिडन पोटेंशियल क्या है जो मुझे अचीव करनी है. तो एक वुमेन को अगर एम्पावर होना है तो शी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दैट व्हाट शी वांट्स टू अचीव. अपने गोल सेट कीजिए, एवरी टाइम आप जो भी एक्टिविटीज करें अपने गोल सेट कीजिए. लाइक सपोज इफ यू वांट टू बी बिकमिंग एज अ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब, या आप कुछ बनाना चाहते हैं, मैन्युफैक्चर करना चाहते हैं, तो ठीक है, आप अपना एक गोल सेट कीजिए कि मुझे एक दिन में इतनी यूनिट प्रोड्यूस करनी है. अब वो प्रोड्यूस कैसे होंगी, नाउ यू हैव टू वर्क फॉर इट. एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स, एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग जो आपको करना है कि अपना सेल्फ डेवलपमेंट. बिना सेल्फ डेवलपमेंट के यू कांट डू एनीथिंग. ईदर यू आर एंटरप्रेन्योर और ईदर यू आर वर्किंग समवेयर. यू नीड टू बी वर्क फॉर सेल्फ डेवलपमेंट. दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. क्योंकि अगर हम लोग जब बात कर रहे हैं, अगर हम डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात करें, तो वुमेन इज नॉट फाइटिंग ओनली जस्ट टू गेट द अनेबल, जस्ट टू गेट द फाइनेंस एंड ईच एंड एवरीथिंग. शी हैज टू ब्रेक द टैबू ऑल्सो. वो टैबू जब आपको ब्रेक करना है, जो आप सामने वालों को अपना, जो एक जब भी आप एक वुमेन एक अपना बिजनेस प्रपोजल लेके जाते हैं, लाइक सपोज कि उन्होंने they try to work it on the bangles, they try to work to create a bangles. तो सबसे पहले क्वेश्चन मार्क आता है, या सेल्फ हेल्पिंग ग्रुप्स में लगा लीजिए, या आप कहीं से अगर अपने फाइनेंसिंग कराना चाहते हैं, ये कर पाएगी? So at this time you are fighting from internal also and from the external part. तो मैं कर पाऊंगी, ये मेरे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर मैंने अपने आप को समझा दिया मैं कर सकती हूँ, तो आप सामने वाले को समझा सकते हैं. द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, यू हैव टू कन्विंस योरसेल्फ. व्हेन यू कन्विंस्ड योरसेल्फ, देन इट इज वेरी इजी फॉर यू टू गो फर्दर. So whenever we are talking about, in a nutshell, if I'm talking about the woman entrepreneur, so that will be defined as a woman And it is not necessary you can work as in a single unit. You may have in a group of the women who initiate, who organize, and run business enterprise. A government of India, the government of the India has defined an enterprise owned, controlled by the women, having a minimum financial interest of 51% of the capital and giving at least 51% of the employment generated in the enterprise to women. So even the government is supporting you. So it is your choice to please come up. Now, the impact of the entrepreneurial development on the women empowerment, that is the most important thing. So these are the followings are the impact when we're talking about, not the first thing we're talking about the self-confidence of the woman. That is the most important thing. How it's हमारा जो self-confidence है वो में कैसे help करता है? Sometimes you're just feeling कि पाएगा नहीं पाएगा, हो जाएगा. You can do it. When you're saying yourself, yes, you can do it, half of the battle you won. Only half is left. And that is I'm saying that is accurately correct things. So increasing of the self-confidence through entrepreneurial development gave a woman a prosperous future. Then you don't need, I mean, we are just controlling ourselves. We have such things, we have to go for this thing because this is not me. So if you now that giving you a sense of the power, a sense of the responsibility, yes, I earned this thing. That is the important thing. Then the next thing we are having, it is an unlimited earning potential. So when we're talking about the unlimited earning potential, like when you run your own company, there is a no limit of the income potential. With your hard work, you can go from 6 to 7, you can go from 7 to 8, and that is beyond of these things. So it is not the thing, yes, you are getting only 5,000 or 6,000. No, from the 6 to 7, from 6 to 8, even the beyond, even in lakhs, millions, in whatever manner you want to do it, you can do it with your hard work. Then we have an economic solvency, because this is the most important change that come through the increase in income. I mean, which is not only upgrade the individual life, but also increase the standard of the living, bringing economic solvency within the family. If the woman is upgrading, then she is not only upgrading, the whole family is upgrading. Because this is there, it means there is an enhancement कि आपकी जो पूरी family का standard of living है वो आप enhance कर रहे हो. So the increase in her income is also an increase of the family income, such as providing enough family members to have a better lifestyle, including the better education for their children, improvement of the family health and each and everything. So now, even if you're working, like you're saying, yes, I am working within to provide a best education to your child and giving in a best healthy cheese, that the healthy pattern in your family. Then the next we have the role of the status. No, we have with the capital building. Now, what do we mean by capital building? हमारा होता क्या है? जिस तरह से कि the women that इकोनॉमिक सक्सेस अगर उनके मिल रही है या वुमेन अपना बिजनेस एक्सपैंड कर रही हैं, लाइक एक्सपैंड करना मीन्स लाइक सपोज उन्होंने न्यू मशीनरी रखी है, नए टूल्स इंट्रोड्यूस किए हैं, लाइक एसेसरीज, रेलेवेंट नेसेसिटीज. सो मॉडर्नाइजेशन ऑफ द वर्क प्लेस नाउ. तो अब होता है क्या, मॉडर्नाइजेशन ऑफ द वर्क प्लेस, लाइक सपोज नाउ वी आर वर्किंग ऑन द न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी, लाइक सपोज एनी वुमेन शी developed in a website of the jewelry part. Okay, so when she working on a website of these things, or maybe she's in a tour operator and then she works within a website of this tour and travels, then what she do now, after getting in so much strength in the market, understanding in a market and having a success phase in the market, now she can introduce the role of the technology. Like उसने क्या किया, एक virtual reality को introduce कर दिया कि हाँ अब मैं अपने कस्टमर्स को एक लेवल ऑफ द टेक्नोलॉजी एनहांस कर दी कि अगर कोई मेरे पास आता है, कस्टमर आता है, तो मैं इसको वर्चुअल रियलिटी सेंस करती. लाइक सपोज इफ यू वांट टू गो फॉर द यूएस, यू वांट टू गो फॉर द थाईलैंड, यू वांट टू गो फॉर द मॉरिशस, तो आपको एक वर्चुअल रियलिटी के थ्रू एक रियल एक्सपीरियंस दिया जा रहा है. सो वेन एवर दीज थिंग्स, सो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट हेयर कि कैपिटल बिल्डिंग में कि आप न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी को इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, आप अपना प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं, increase the laborer, कि आपने अपने employee को increase किया, and the most important thing is that they're increasing your purchasing power and upgrade their status both socially and economically. That is an important thing. कि आप अपना स्टेटस सोशली भी एनहांस कर रहे हो और इकोनॉमिकली भी आप स्टेटस एनहांस क्योंकि आपकी परचेजिंग पावर बढ़ गई है. राइट नाउ जो आपके पास 1000 रुपीज मिलते थे आपको, यू हैव टू स्पेंड ऑन योरसेल्फ, नाउ इट वुड बी ना 1 लाख. ये if you're working on a entrepreneurial development, these are the certain way by which you can empower women. Now, what are the economic implication? So, economic implications हमारी क्या होंगी इसमें? As you can see that for this thing, the small, medium, and the total, there's so much high over there in the financial year. If you see it. So distribution of the micro, small, and the medium enterprise owned by the women across the India in the financial year 2021. So you can see in the micro that is the 20.44%. For the small one, that is the 5.26%. For the medium, it is 2.617, and the total, that is the 20.33%. Now you can see. So this is the something that there are some of the implication, economic implication of the women entrepreneurial developments are improved business performance of the MSc owned by the women entrepreneur, increased transformation of the MSc from the informal to the formal sector. Now we are not working only on the informal sector, we are talking about the more and more formal sectors also. And then increased number of the startups, increase, अब startup increase होंगे तो क्या होता है कि that is a related term है वो हमारी, अगर हमारे startups ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं या business हमारे ज़्यादा open हो रहे हैं तो हमारी income भी ज़्यादा हो रही है. Income जैसे enhance करते हैं तो हम क्या करते हैं, एक employment opportunity भी बढ़ा देते हैं. अब particularly when we are talking about to the your village area women, तो अगर हम विलेज में जाके अपना MSc अगर कोई वर्क कर रहा है तो हमने क्या किया, हमारे एम्प्लॉयमेंट ज्यादा है तो हमने जितनी ज्यादा वुमेन को हायर किया टू डू देयर वर्क. So these are the some economic implications over this thing. Now there are some dream killers or the challenges. Every work when you're talking about. So these are the challenges, as we have discussed, the social culture barriers also, market oriented risk also, motivational factors हैं, फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंट हमें नहीं मिलता, रिसोर्सेज ही नहीं मिलते हैं हमें, बिजनेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ट्रेनिंग एक्सपोजर नहीं है क्योंकि हमें तो सिखाया ही नहीं गई कभी ना कि आपको एक बिजनेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, आपको एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन संभालना क्या है, हमें तो घर के पैसे भी संभालने के लिए नहीं दिए गए हैं. तो हाउ कैन वी गेट द एक्सपोजर ऑफ ऑल दीज थिंग्स. प्रोफेशनल एंड एजुकेशन बैकग्राउंड का प्रॉब्लम है कि हम लोग इतने एजुकेटेड नहीं हैं, वी आर नॉट द प्रोफेशनली ट्रेन्ड टू डू सर्टेन थिंग्स, वी आर नॉट गेटिंग इन अ डिजायरेबल इन्वायरमेंट. हमें ऐसा इन्वायरमेंट ही नहीं मिलता क्योंकि हमें हाफ ऑफ द बैटल तो वो जो क्वेश्चन मार्क है ना, जो टैबू सोसाइटी टैबू होती है, शी कैन डू इट, वही हम हो जाते हैं. फैमिली सपोर्ट हमें कई बार नहीं मिलता है और अवेयरनेस, फैमिली सपोर्ट में दे नीड that the women should go to earn the money, only to do the job, earn the money and give the money back to their husband or the other family members. That is not enough family support. That is only that you are handling the responsibility, but you are not handling power. The power is not in your hand. And the one thing that is the awareness. Sometimes the women are not aware about certain things. What I can say, this is the male dominant society. They don't need that the woman should be calm up, and they should, and that she should be aware about each and everything. So I guess I have less time, so I just want to tell you about these are the list of the major skills and the entrepreneurial development schemes for the women empowerment in India. So I guess so that started from the 1986 and 87. So according then in 1993, then 1994 we have a cluster development scheme. 2008 Prime Minister Employment Generation Program for empowering the women. Then 2009 that is the trade related entrepreneurship assistant in the development. 2016 we are talking about the Mahila E-Heart, Nari Shakti Purushkar, this, then the working women hostel scheme that they have talking about. Then we have the Mahila Shakti Kendra in 2017. In 2020, we're talking about the entrepreneurial development programs for women. So these are, so in the 2020, they're talking about the government is targeting at providing a training to the women beneficiary. So this is nowadays that the government is also promoting, वो help कर रही है कि how to empower women to represent themselves, not in a national level, even at the international level also. So they're talking about the introducing themselves in a trade fairs, exhibitions, and each and everything. And these are some schemes over there that offer to the women entrepreneur by the major commercial bank, including the Canara Bank, Small Industrial Development Bank of India, State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Punjab Sindh Bank, Bank of India, Oriental Bank of Commerce, Dena Bank, Central Bank, Bank of Baroda, and the Indira Bank. And it is not it is not only the public bank, even the private banks are also doing so. Like there is one company which we call it as a Shagnagat Agro Kisan Company. So for certain, so what they are doing is that they are making in a bangles over this thing. So there's one more society, we call it as a Mahila Sehkari Society. So this Mahila Sehkari Society, they are making in a bangles, and ICI funding them to do all of these activity. And after funding them this thing, this society generates a profit of 70,000. Can you imagine? The 70,000 rupees monthly they are generating in a profit by doing such business, only on to making a bangles. And this ICI Bank, they're helping in financing part to a self-helping group just to help these women. So there are some very the women, those who prove themselves in terms of in the society. The first one, we have the Naina Lal Kizwai. She's an investment banker, and the magazine, the Fortune magazine, that she is the one the world most powerful businesswoman in 2003, and in corporation recognized her as the most powerful investment banker. She's working as a CEO of the HSBC, deputy CEO of the HSBC Bank, and can't reduce to a simple woman banker, and professional is very hard. Then we have the Malika Srinivasan. She is working as an Economic Times Businesswoman of the Year 2006. She's the director of the group Tafe, and in 1986, she joined a family business, being as a general manager of the Tafe. When she took over, the turnover of the company was rupees 85 crores. So at present, the company is earning the business of the 1,200 crore. Now, can you imagine the way she's working with this thing? On the January 26, 2014, on the eve of the 65th Republic Day, she has been awarded the Padma Shri to coveted award for the Indian government. Then there's one more lady, that is the Premlata, that that they work and with the K. A. Pandya-Rajan. They started in the 1992 with a capital of rupees just 60,000 rupees. Today, it is the largest HR services provider and the staffing company in India with a turnover of rupees 435 crores. Can you imagine? So when we talking about a certain lady and all these things, so they're doing something very well, how they come up with this thing. Then there's another woman, she's working very well, that is the Shehnaz Hussain. I guess all of you are aware about her. So in 1977, she's set up her own salon at her house in Delhi. Initial investment like 35,000. By 2002, the companies had over the 650 salons around the world, employing 4,200 people. The network of the company was $100 million. Imagine. And now she's not only the national personality, she's international personality also. Then we have Divya. Divya is the co-founder of the Byju's. And she's the Byju's that is working on the educational platform to help the students to learn better using an E mode also. They're having the classroom in E modes also. So this is the way she joined the Byju's, the classes at a student. So soon the Divya became a teacher, and then she got married, and after that she working. So nowadays that she Byju's the most valuable ed company in the world, and the Divya was featured as one of the LinkedIn top voices in 2019. Then we have the Manan Desi Mahila Sahakari Bank, that the Chetna Foundation established in the 1994 as a cooperative bank which is completely operated by the women and the serve women customers. So that bank was established with the help of the group of the illiterate women and now grown up to like the 562,000 farms at the end of the 2001. Now you can imagine nowadays that how these women had come up and tried to work it out. And ऐसा नहीं है कि इनके पास challenges नहीं थे या इनके पास नहीं थे. Even though if you are talking about having a very high professional skills, even though they have the many sorry, they have many challenges they face, but the only thing is that the determination to do. And the one answer they're giving us, that who we are. When you start giving such answers, you motivated enough and start doing it. Falguni Nair, the founder of the Naika, nowadays the net worth of rupees 1300 crore. Sudha Murthy, computer scientist as an engineer, working with the chairperson of the Infosys group, each and everything. She's a writer also and all these things. So, and even though she got an award in the literature also with an R.K. Narayan award and the Padam Shri in 2006. Dr. Kiran Shaw, that you are talking about, that started her own company in the 1978, and then she's doing very well. Then there is a self-helping group also, like the SEVA, the Self-Employed Women Association. In the 1973, they have the members only 320. In 2002, they have so many members are there. And the LA Award has been awarded with the Padam Shri and Padma Bhushan as well as the Ramson Magazine Award. And you all aware about the Lajat Papad story because they are the 7 illiterate and the poor women who borrowed rupees 80 to start up a business of Papad. Nowadays, that the turnover from rupees 6196 in the first year went up to the 300 crore in the next 4 decades. 40,000 women in its revolutionary march. The story which remained almost like in a fairy tale chronicles the growth of an exclusive women organization. Now you can see that is because this Lajit Papad's story is really an inspirational one. So there is a small video which I want you.
Look at the world today. What do you see? The largest youth population in history, most in developing countries. The spread of conflict and instability from isolated pockets to whole regions, and a swiftly growing population that must be fed. How do we address global challenges in a rapidly changing world? By empowering women and girls. Investing in women and girls accelerates progress in every area. When girls have access to education and technology, they can learn more and earn more, pulling themselves and their families out of poverty. When women have equal rights and opportunities as peace builders and leaders, peace agreements cover more ground and last longer. When women have control of resources, land, and markets, they can play a vital role in helping to feed a hungry planet. From climate change to extreme poverty, women are proving they're ready to transform the world. We cannot solve the world's problems without women, period. The way forward is clear. To meet the challenges of the future, we need to empower women and girls now. It is one of the smartest investments we can make, and we can't afford to wait. Look at the world today.
So I guess this is what we have done it. So in my concluding remarks that I'm just talking about in my concluding remarks, in a nutshell, we're talking about the women entrepreneur, they can make their contribution as a significant tool in economic development, social development, and to the sustainable development of the world future. So this contribution in terms of the education, better health for the society, and in all other areas in which the people are able to groom themselves. So role of entrepreneurial development in the women empowerment is also related to the women ability to gain control over the economic resources and to participate more fully in the process of building wealth. And also it leads to a self-fulfillment to know where women are going. Women are becoming more personally and economically empowered through business ownership or entrepreneurial development. In fact, successful women entrepreneurs play a model role for the future entrepreneur of the future, and that is absolutely true. Because if you want to become as an entrepreneur, you always looking for the mentors, and those women who are doing very successful, they can be a mentor to the next woman, so that they can also help, they can also nurture their skills, they can also work for it, so that they can represent themselves in the society, not only just taking the responsibility, but to taking care of the power also. So this is all from my side. I hope you enjoyed this session. And please, in case if you have any query in your mind, please let me know.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It has been such an impactful session, and certainly any participants, if they have any queries, you're most welcome to put your questions in the chat box. And actually, we all can make the best of this time since we have such a learned academician amongst us. And ma'am has elaborated on different aspects related to women, and specifically the way you have focused on how we can move and how we can get more motivated. And your talk about women entrepreneurship has been really insightful. And we hope that all our participants have gained a lot of insights from this session today. And certainly you can see that the chat box is flooded with so many messages that how this has been a wonderful experience for everyone for this particular session.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm just looking for if you have any query or any points that you want to discuss, or I'm just because we have discussed so many things and the time is very less, because when we're talking about entrepreneurial development, that took a whole 1 day or the 2 day to describe and to work for it.
Definitely, ma'am, but we do understand the time constraints available today.
I understand. Yeah, I also understand.
So as of now, we cannot see any such question in the chat box because you've actually explained all the concepts and you've discussed them in a very powerful manner. So now may I please take this opportunity, and for carrying the session forward, may I please invite Ms. Bhavisha, Assistant Professor from Department of Commerce and Management, for proposing vote of thanks for such an impactful session. Over to you, Bhavisha ma'am.
Thank you, Chavi ma'am. Am I audible?
Ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good afternoon to all of you. As it is rightly said, the root of all goodness lies in the soil of appreciation for the goodness. And I, Bhavisha Verma, on behalf of Sanatan Dharma College, Ambala Kant, and the entire organizing team, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to the worthy resource person, Professor Kavita. My heart is filled with a lot of gratitude and respect for our distinguished guest speaker, Kavita ma'am, for not only sparing her invaluable time for us to grace the occasion, but also for enlightening us with her commendable talk on this subject. From the bottom of my heart and soul, I thank you for taking the time to be the guest speaker at our seminar. Your presence and your wise words helped magnify our cause in the best possible ways. Your words have inspired so many people out there. Ma'am, very beautifully explained what the empowerment is in the real terms, the components of the five components of the woman empowerment, and how the woman empowerment will impact the economic development of our country. Thank you, ma'am, for clearing our concept and enhancing our understanding pertaining to the gender-sensitive issues and the woman empowerment. Indeed, you put in your best efforts to make this event an unforgettable one. Thank you, ma'am. We are highly obliged with your presence. Thank you, Chabi ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Usha ma'am.
Thank you so much.
So once again, Kavita ma'am, on behalf of the entire organizing team, we would like to extend a very hearty vote of thanks to you for being available with us today and for sharing your experiences and your thoughts with all the participants. So moving ahead with the session.
So much. So I guess now may I leave this meeting?
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Kavita ma'am. A small announcement for all our participants that after now we will have a lunch break for half an hour and we will resume at 1:30 again for the next session. And since, as it was already announced, we will join the post-lunch session through a Google Meet link that has already been shared with mail and is being shared in the chat box as well, so that everyone can conveniently join the next session. We apologize for this small change, but please kindly accommodate. So we will join back again at 1:30 and that can be done via a Google Meet link. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us, and we will resume at 1:30 again.